Welcome to the Chelsea FanCast. I am Stamford Chidge, and I am joined for tonight's show, which is our kind of occasional show where we read through your voluminous emails. And as always, I'm joined by the lovely Jonathan Kydd.
Voluminous, Chidge, voluminous.
Well, there are many of them.
You mean like a pair of knickers?
Yes,
huge underwear. Voluminous.
Yes.
Voluminous.
Yes. And they are emails about a bunch of knickers, even. So you know.
Yeah, it'd be great to see one of them. Interestingly, that the theme music, the one never listens to normally because we don't, it's played in later, is stonking, isn't it?
You've never really listened to it, have you?
Well, no, I know of it. Obviously, beautiful game, but
yeah.
But it's I'd look them up on YouTube. I would offer that to anybody as an opportunity to hear some good tracks. Because remember, we've actually supported them, didn't we? One gig.
Well, you did.
Yeah.
The Rudy V's, yeah?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It's an excellent track. It's called Getting By, But Only Just, which I've always felt was very pertinent to the Chelsea FanCast that's been getting by for about 15 years, but only just. 16 years, actually, nearly. Next month, 16
years. 16 years.
16 years.
Don't seem a day too much. Yeah, so that's more like Chelsea.
Indeed. So, how are you anyway? You all right?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I did Mr. Bean today. Did a few characters. Played a policeman, which was nice. Played a policeman like that. Chaz and Dave, you're nicked. They weren't called Chaz and Dave. I don't know where that came from. Dave and Chaz. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're nicked. And then Mr. Bean was nicked for nicking a necklace, but of course it was actually owned by Mrs. Wicket, and he was just looking after it. But the policeman got the wrong end of the stick, as you do in a Mr. Bean cartoon.
Was it a sticky wicket?
Clever. Very for a period, because he was put in the cells. But then she had to come along and say, "No, that's Mr. Bean. No, he was looking after it for me." As you do in a Mr. Bean cartoon. I had to go, "Oh, you know him then, do you? Oh, all right." As one does. Yes. Good fun.
It's been a fairly, it's kind of funny actually talking to you, because it seems like it's ages since there was a Chelsea match, because of course we played on Saturday and there's been nothing since. And many will probably be a bit amazed by this, but JK and I, actually, we have real lives. We don't live in this kind of box that you see. And actually, we kind of get on with our shit and don't worry about Chelsea unless they're playing. So I'm not abreast of all sorts of stupid rumours on X and all the rest of it. But anyway, look, we have an email show. I can tell you that I think the last show we did was at the end, before the Carabao Cup. So the emails will go back that far, and the last one came in, I think, last night. So it covers the last couple of weeks, really. So gird your loins for those. Now, as ever, don't forget, you can listen to the show live. Or barely live, really, every Monday and Friday at about 7:30 p.m. Sometimes we kick off at 8, depending on how busy we are, by going to Mixlr, which is Chelsea-fancast.mixlr.com. There's a brilliant chat room on there where people can chat to each other, fire a few questions at us. You know the score. But of course, recently, as you will probably know by now, we decided to embrace modern technology, namely YouTube and Facebook. And we stream these shows live now on both YouTube. Exactly, JK, and Facebook. So there you go. Now you can follow us on all the socials at Chelsea FanCast, and of course listen and subscribe to the podcast, which we release shortly afterwards on Acast, Spotify, Apple, and all good podcast platforms. And of course, make sure you leave us lovely, glowing 5-star reviews, and of course like and subscribe. We don't have a fancy kind of animation that goes like and subscribe. We may work on that. We'll see.
We should evolve, shouldn't we? We should evolve everything. There should be
evolving.
AI should take over from both of us.
Oh, that would be much better for a start, obviously. What I would also say, JK, there's been an evolution in the show tonight. I'm going to not tell you what it is. You have to guess when you see it. Okay. Anyway, another thing you can do, of course, is you can become a Chelsea FanCast patron, which I'll be very honest with you, affords you absolutely no privileges or benefits whatsoever, other than parting with your hard-earned cash once a month. Indeed. Well, actually, that's not entirely true, because I mean, I will send you a Kerry Dixon banner. So, like
the banner.
Yeah, it's a replica of the one that hangs in the Matthew Harding end where I sit. And also, you can join our Discord group, which is a bit like Mixler 24/7, full of lovely people who talk sense about Chelsea and don't say stupid things that you get on social media. It's actually quite civilized. So there you go. If you want to do all of that, that's patreon.com/Chelsea FanCast. So there you go. Really, we should get on with the show, which is, of course, the first email of the show, which is from an old friend of ours, JK. You will know the name.
Well, it's George Spencer. The thing is with George is I'm now beginning to get interested in supporting Winchester because of George. You know,
yeah. Up you citizens! Up you citizens!
Is that what you have to say? Up you citizens! You don't go up.
No, there's no up. They don't like it up them. They
don't
like it
up
up them at Winchester.
Up your Chester. You don't.
No,
do that.
it's not. It's not. They don't like it up them at Winchester. It's you
Up
citizens!
You
citizens! You citizens!
You don't call them the winch. No,
you haven't got it quite right. It's the
citizens!
internet. It's all about the internet. No. You citizens!
You citizens!
You citizens!
You citizens!
It's my retirement home for football, or it will be.
Do you think there could be a Chelsea chant like that? You Chelsea! Come on, you Chelsea!
No.
No.
But I remember Phil Norman, Psycho Phil, berating me when we used to sing Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. He always said, Chidge. The emphasis has got to be on the second. It's got to be on the Chelsea.
I think many opposition supporters seem to think that that's the only song we have. I don't quite understand where they've got that from. I keep reading this on social media. They come in and say, well, they've only got one song, Chelsea. Ha, ha, ha. And
well, the people who write that on social media probably they wouldn't be able to pinpoint Stamford Bridge if it sat on their face.
That's true, actually, yeah.
So, I mean, it's always been, I think, do you know what? I think I know why opposition fans constantly berate us for only having one song. And I mean, I remember when I first started going in the 80s that song would last for an entire half, it seemed.
Yes, that's true.
It fucks people off.
Completely, it did. It really irritated them.
And that's why we sing it. It's a song of defiance.
You are right.
It's a song of defiance.
And they've misunderstood that they thought that was the only song we had. No, they don't. They don't.
Because we've got loads of songs. We've always had loads of songs.
Always.
So,
And also they're confused by Spot, because I put a picture of people singing Spot on the train on the way to Wembley on TikTok. I have a TikTok page, everybody. It's just called Jonathan Kydd.
Down with the youth, mate.
CFC. I'm done with you. And it got a lot of hits from opposition supporters saying, look at this bunch of Yadars singing this ridiculous song. What is this ridiculous song? And I wrote back, it's a traditional Chelsea song, which has been sung for years and years and years.
Before you were an itch in your father's nutsack.
And we love the fact that it goes on for so long, because it really pisses people off.
And unlike you, it proves that we can count to 10.
Hey.
I'm on fire tonight.
Chidge, shall I just do the email?
Yeah, do it before I get too hot.
Now, this is George is talking about Palace, of course. So, and then pre-cup final. So, anyway, did Chidgy and JK, Chidgy call you Chidgy?
Yeah, he does. No respect.
It's a bit rubbish. Anyway, did Chidgy and JK? Thank you, George. For once, it seems things are looking up. At half-time at Selhurst Park, it seems as though we would be throwing away all the hard work of the Villa game. Yes, we were very poor in the first half, weren't we? But then Michael Oliver somehow only remembered he needed to fix his earpiece when the second half began. And 3 little goals from, I get that, clever that, 3 little goals, 3 little birds, clever, from Conor Gallagher and Enzo, gave us 3 massive points. Then to the Etihad, despite Avanti trying to put the fans off, we matched Pep City blow for blow. Unlucky not to win. Unlucky not to win. Helped, of course, by Haaland having a stinker. Yes, he was not at his best, was he?
Absolute stinker.
Yeah, absolute stinker.
Yes.
I wish I could share the optimism around the cup final emanating from the podcast. Yeah, we were poor similarly with being positive about it. But I just know Liverpool will be given the match on a plate through bovine excrement decisions. Well, you were right. Lots of people have since debated the Jackson offside, very similar to the Lukaku offside. So some of them have said, it was never proven. But I've got no idea about
He was not offside.
Wasn't it offside?
It was not offside.
He wasn't. He was finished.
He was finished. That's right. Well done. JK is also on fire. Well done. Well done.
What's that noise that's happening there? What's happening? Are you
what
getting,
noise?
Going, doop, doop, doop.
I'm not getting a noise.
Oh, okay. I was just getting a doop. Anyway,
it's in your head, mate.
Hey, it's in my head, man. Hey, my big. What's contacting me? What's that big orb coming down for me? Hello, oh man. Hey. Anyway, wish I could share the optimism around the cup final emanating from the podcast. I just know Liverpool will be given the match on a plate through bovine excrement decisions. I don't think you've ever said excrement decisions before, George, and I'm a little bit perturbed. With that F*** Gareth, to paraphrase Malcolm Tucker, ref support UK will gloat over and claim it was justified because Klopp's leaving. Yeah, there is an element of that. I think
we've all thought that, haven't we?
We've all thought that, but we handed it to them on a plate in the extra time, or because he saw a Chelsea fan singing the national anthem near a Scouser. It's interesting how that wasn't mentioned, was it, Jim?
I know, it completely
ignored it.
Completely. Yeah.
But whereas then they did it before. It made the major news, didn't it? It made 6 o'clock news, but nothing was mentioned now. Anyway, back in Winchester.
Apparently they were also singing "Lizzie's in a Box."
Yes, I heard. Yeah, that wasn't mentioned either. Anyway,
anyway,
back to the real stuff, George. Back in Winchester, the away game against Tiverton was called off due to the weather. Frequently happens, the weather. However, the home game against Hanwell, I love about these matches is Hanwell is where I used to play football on my Sunday football. We always went up to Hanwell to play. Home game against Hanwell went ahead, ending in a 1-1 draw thanks to a late equaliser from Simbo Malambo, 4-4 away and 1-1 at home. Just like City's results against us, there is a strange coincidence. And I wonder, George, whether you should start comparing Winchester results. Come on, you citizens! Is that it?
You citizens!
Come on, you citizens! I think you should be comparing them because this is a little bit of a coincidence, and I think there may be something going on. Anyway, until next time, up the Chelsea. George Spencer. Thank you, George. Good old. Is he on again? Does he have another one?
He may be. He may well be. You have the running order. You will know this.
Yeah, I know. I've got it. But I've just wondered,
I've seen Simba Malambo score a goal actually against Hayes. It was a really good goal as well. We should sign him up, mate.
Well,
better than idiots we've got.
He's probably on the cards, isn't he?
It was a really good goal. Anyway, there you go, George. Lovely to hear from you as always. Right, second email of the week of the show is David Kinder. I'm always presuming it's Kinder rather than Kinder. Maybe David could let me know. Evening, Chidge and JK. Oh, right, you say hello. I thought you were stopping me.
No, I went, whoop. Yeah, I just went hello.
You're still in your policeman role, aren't you? That's what it is. Anyway, evening, Chidge and JK. I've just listened to In Off the Post and was mortified to hear. I remember this. Fucking hell, yeah. I was mortified to hear that I had received a booking from Chidge for my criticism of Connor in my last email. With this in mind, I'm writing now to ask for it to be rescinded.
Oh, they can't have yellow cards.
No, you can, can't you? I thought you could.
No, not yellow cards, only being sent off. No.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Okay, I'll tell you what, David. I'll give you a red card, and then you can appeal that. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Yeah. Right. Despite my anger at not only Connor but the whole team after the Anfield debacle, which was followed by one of the most horrific performances I have ever witnessed at home against Wolves.
True.
I will humbly admit Connor has been brilliant since then, as he has prior to that awful few games. My only frustration with Connor for most of the season has been the lack of goals or assists. Now he seems to be slowly adding that to his game. hopefully the post-Roman bandwagon fans who only watch us through social media can get off his back. Despite my request for the booking to be rescinded, it would be prudent to point out that I am writing this 4 days before the cup final. And if Connor has another mare against Liverpool in that, then I could be ending up writing an email which will result in a straight red. Only joking.
Well, you would be allowed to. He would be allowed to because he did.
Well, it's
miss
a second yellow
chances.
is a red card, isn't it?
Exact. So I think
He did all right. He did no, mate. He was all right against the Scouts.
He was other than the shooting.
Well, yes, I cannot deny that.
Anyway, deny that.
Here's to praying that by the time you read this, we will have a trophy secured. Although I write that with 0.5% expectation and 99.5% hope, as did I, David, and I'm afraid it proved to be correct. Keep up the great work as always, and up the Chelsea, Dave.
Up the Chelsea, Dave. Up the Chelsea. Hey, Blue Boys.
You citizens. Oh no, wrong club. Sorry.
Come on, you Chelsea. Yeah.
Come on, you Blue Boys.
Blue Boys. Yeah. We're the ones to set them like Chelsea. Yeah. What was that other song we used to sing?
Oh, it's a corner. Oh, it's a corner.
Yeah, that one as well, but not that one. No, that was another one. No, it was another. There was another. Nana, hey, kiss him goodbye. That wasn't. That was later. There was an earlier one. It will come to me. Anyway, Jacob Aldridge. Hi, guys. I've very much been enjoying JK's report on the pre-match press conferences. Very sweet of you, Jacob. I get a bit bogged down, though, sometimes. I was trying to think I must just praise a bit of it because he does talk a lot of waffle, and I find myself going, oh, I wrote that bit down, but it's waffle. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's I'm worried that I may feel I ought to criticize him in a video because it's getting a bit silly. But anyway. Poch, yeah, I'm tempted because he does make some ridiculous statements.
Well, I think there was a bit of flack on the Discord group about that because it's interesting, isn't it? And I think we have to remember that we are from an older generation where we grew up with every single comedy outlet on the BBC taking the piss out of foreigners. And in particular, the best example of that, of course, we grew up. I remember being at school watching 40 Towers, everybody going the next day saying, he know nothing. He from Barcelona, right?
Yes,
and it was acceptable. But I don't think it is acceptable now because people perceive it as a racist slur. Although probably it may well be. So
I think I could come in at an angle, though, it's more about the football than about his pronunciation.
I think lay off his awful English.
Yes. No, I think you could occasionally go, what? After he said a sentence, rather than,
or you just
pronounce something.
Equally, you could just say, he's from Barcelona. He know nothing. And we could just leave it at that.
And that would be my demise involved in everything. Yeah.
I think I've just ensured that we'll be locked up tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's not from Barcelona, though, is he? He's from Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires, yes.
Isn't he from Buenos Aires? I'm going to have to Google it and find out while you're reading the email.
Anyway, I've very much been enjoying JK's report on the pre-match press conferences. I like that very much, Jake. I'm going to read it again. I've very much been enjoying JK's report on the pre-match press conferences. Oh, thank you, Jacob. I love the title for this section you've come up with because I definitely would far rather listen to him take the piss out of them rather than actually watch them myself. Thank you very much. You're a dear man. This leads me to my next point and the meaning of this email. Do you think that Poch himself plays a massive part in why the press conferences are so dull? I understand and appreciate the questions he's being asked are very shit, but still we all enjoyed press conferences with the likes of Tuchel, Mourinho and many more, all of which would have no doubt been asked the same crap questions by the press. This leads me to wonder how inspiring / captivating can Poch be on the training ground and behind closed doors. Well, yes, remember we made that assessment of Potter, didn't we? It's very good. I struggle to imagine him leaping into life. I appreciate there's a language barrier. Well, there shouldn't be a language barrier. He's been in England 11 years.
Yeah, but, I keep saying this. Not everybody's good. Mate, I've been going to France for, good God, nearly 40 years.
Good God.
And my French, good God. And my French is still as shit now, as my great French friends tell me. My French is still as shit now as it was 40 years ago. So,
Yeah, you keep telling me that, and I don't agree with you.
Well, I'm just reasonable, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. But I like that. Good God.
Good
VAR.
God.
VAR. Yeah. Good God. What is the good of VAR?
For? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Say it again. Yeah.
Where are we?
Where are we? Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? As we've had a natural break in the email,
Yeah.
I can reveal something of amazing significance and stunningness.
Ooh.
Maurizio Pochettino was
Yeah.
born in the Santa Fe province of Argentina, in a
Santa
town
Yeah.
called Murphy.
Murphy. Called
Murphy.
Murph. So
Murph. For fuck's sake, Murph.
He's an Irish Argentinian.
Irish. It's like I've now got it on Google. It's named after an Irishman, John James Murphy from Hazeland near Kilrain, County Wexford, close to Rosslare Harbour. I've been to Rosslare. Born in 1822 to a Catholic family, Murphy was an unmarried son of middle-class tenant farmers who decided to emigrate to better his prospects. He sailed to Buenos Aires, then headed to the Pampas. That would be an area in Argentina, not your kind of stay dry pants. Murphy initially found employment, well, blah, blah, blah. It all gets boring after that. So he's born in Murphy, not...
Did he? Not Buenos Aires. Did he invent the potato?
No.
Oh.
Because they were in Ireland way before. Well, wasn't it Sir Walter Raleigh who invented the potato?
They're not called Rallies. They were called Murphys, weren't they?
Murphy Spuds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway.
Answers on a postcard, please, to Jonathan Kydd at Chelsea FanCast.
Thank you very much.
You've lost where you are, haven't you?
No, I haven't. It's Tuchel, Mourinho, and many more. We all enjoyed press conferences. This leads me to wonder how inspiring, captivating can Poch be on the training ground. Yeah. I struggle to imagine him leaping into life. I appreciate there's a language barrier. That's what I said. But Chidge, surely he needs 11 years. That itself is somewhat of an issue for me. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. I think you've been hearing them, Jacob. You could tell the likes of Terry and Lampard were absolutely captivated and in awe of Mourinho. For me, his influence on them is very much overlooked, despite being a key aspect in why they became such amazing players. I can imagine we're getting the same thing here. And with a group of young players, surely this kind of figure is what they need. The only kind of figure Chelsea's interested is the £1 billion figure. Anyway, love the show as always.
£1 billion.
£1 billion. I love the show as always. Thanks. I don't bother with any other Chelsea-related show. You're a dear chap, Jacob, because yours kicks the shit out of them all. Yes.
Come on,
yes.
Chelsea fan.
Yes.
You Chelsea fan. Love it, Jacob. You're a top man.
Much love, and he sends love. You see, at the end of that, what I love about he's proper man, because he gives a kick in the shit and then he sends love. So he's got these two things going on. I love him. Yeah.
Lovely, mate. Much love to you too, Jake. Very kind words. Right, we've got an email now from a regular sender of emails, Jalal Kadia. Hey guys, I know a lot of the family on the podcast really is hesitant to be against Poch, or rather, you all are trying to get behind him more. Sorry, I'll say that again. Or rather, you're all trying to get behind him more so than those online. But I have to say, I'm done with this guy. I don't care about the Spurs link or the trophy cabinet. It's the lack of the consistency in his messaging. He began the season speaking about how this is Chelsea and we have to win now. And now he's
all the time. He does it all the time, doesn't he?
He does. And now he's changed his tune to this is a young team. We need time and all of that bullshit. If he had any amount of self-belief and confidence in his own ability, his messaging would remain consistent. I just don't believe there is any conviction in Pochettino. The last 15 minutes of normal time in the cup final we are completely dominating them. But rather than going for the kill, we just sit back like children. Oh, and I'm done with his young player bullshit. Games changed. 22 is the new 28. I'm not having this excuse of young players anymore. I'm sorry. But we sat back like children and refused to execute Liverpool, who were literally pulling out children from their mascot pool. Then extra time is even more inexplicable. How are we sitting back? How is the passing so slow? Why is there such a lack of forward movement? Why is he bringing out Mudryk, a player who is a complete enigma, relies far too much on confidence, has absolutely zero confidence, has been derided by his manager the last few months, gets left out in the cold after good performances, which we saw around November and December. It's just poor, I'll say it again, poor, very poor decision-making and man management, in my honest opinion. Jalal, you are nothing if not honest. He's such a fragile, immature child who clearly has a severely immature and fragile ego. This child needs proper support and guidance, and instead of providing that and defending him, he's been slowly pushing him out. Yes, his body language and desire on the field were shit, but I place that on Poch. Previously, you guys have said Mudryk doesn't defend. I will say you've all been tricked by Poch's comments on Mudryk. I will say, Jalal, that I've seen it with my own eyes, and I know what I believe. Last season and even earlier this season, he has had numerous moments of putting his body on. Oh, okay, fair enough. Actually, do you know what? To be fair, he has done that. I take it all back. I'm clearly wrong. I know nothing. Putting his body on the line and sprinting back and covering. I tell you what fucks me off about Mudryk, though, Jalal, is the number of times he just stands there like a lemon, clearly not having a Scooby what to do on a football pitch. And I know you must have seen that too.
A terrible moment even on Saturday at Brentford, where the cross from Cole Palmer that scored the goal was scored to Disasi headed from into the goal. God, I can't speak. The cross from Cole Palmer that Disasi headed in was given to, the ball was given. I've got back into not being able to speak again. Mudryk took the corner, and Palmer took the corner, gave it to Mudryk. Mudryk looked up to centre it, and Palmer thought, "I'm not having any of this," and and centred it.
Yeah, and he actually he talked about it afterwards, didn't he? He said that Mudryk was too indecisive, and that was a moment not to be indecisive.
Yeah, but it makes you think.
So Palmer called him out.
Yeah, and there was another occasion, I'm afraid, when Gusto had the opportunity to pass to Jackson, looked up, passed it back. He thought, "Oh dear."
Yeah, I know that.
Let's not have that, But
it's a bit of a problem, really, isn't it? It's a bit of a problem. This is why I call him the depleted Ukrainian. But there you go.
Which is clever.
It is clever.
Is it clever to mention it again? Because Shall
I say it again? It's why I came up with this in the pub with Richard Schaller when we were talking about T-shirts, saying, should we get a T-shirt with Mudryk on and call it the depleted Ukrainian, or would that be a bit sick? Not as in the youth call it sick, because I know that they use sick to mean good, but anyway, we probably won't. We've got enough T-shirts cooking. So anyway, he didn't do that at all on Sunday. Why? Because he's been completely left out to dry by this coward of a manager. I'm so tired of this coach. We've seen that these players have the quality. Well, I'm not entirely sure of that, Jalal. We've seen them have great quality on occasion, and we've seen them stink the place out on occasion. I mean, it's on a wider point, actually. Let's bring JK in here. We hear this all the time from supporters and from pundits in the game and from managers. They all say, "Oh, Chelsea is a real quality side. They've got great quality players." Who fucking says? Who is the arbiter of that? What have they achieved in the game to prove that they're quality football players?
Just because an enormous amount of money's been spent on them doesn't mean that they're any good at all necessarily.
I mean, okay, and Enzo Fernandez has got a World Cup winners medal, but he didn't win it on his own. Where's the where is this proof of this great quality? There's potential in there, but there's an awful lot of doubt, I think, with some of these players. They make lots of mistakes. They run hot and cold. Yes, I know that this is an issue with young players, but as Jalal said, 22 is the new 28. So, and he may well be right. I mean, look, we've all asked this question all season. None of us have come up with an answer, and there are people who know more about football than we'll ever know who also can't come up with an answer. But I mean, the tenet of your email, Jalal, is that you have 100% faith in the players and zero faith in the manager. And I think that's a legacy position. And if you think about where we've been as a club for the last 20 or 25 years, the person who gets the tin tack when it all goes pear-shaped is always the coach. And we bring another coach in, and then we win a trophy. And I said this years ago on the podcast, that the reason we were doing that up to a point, because of course that all changed after about 2017-18. But we had that great team of players. We had that amazing spine. It didn't matter who managed them because they were so good. They'd pretty much go and win it on their own. For reference, see 2012 in the Champions League. Even under Baron, what was his name? Baron Greenback, Avram Grant. We got to the final of the League Cup, which we should have won, of course, and didn't. We got to the Champions League final, which we should have won, and of course didn't. And we were a couple of points behind the league. But I mean, he just let the players get on with it. So that's when we had quality players, and the manager was irrelevant. I don't think we're in the same place now. I don't think we have got a team of quality players. I think we've got one or two who are showing great potential. We've got Silva, who's, I think, at the end of his career was world class. We've got Reece James, who never plays because he's not fit. We've got Ben Chilwell, who's coming back from injury, who might not be as good again. And we've got Raheem Sterling, who's basically there for a fucking big pension. So, those are your quality players, but they're not providing the quality in the way that we would like them to. And the rest are young and learning the game and unproven. So I don't buy the quality players argument. Pochettino, we can argue about till the cows come home. He's not Mourinho. He's not Thomas Tuchel. He's not Carlo Ancelotti. Absolutely bad. He's not Gus Hiddink. He's probably not Antonio Conte. We've had some great managers. He's possibly not in their league, but he's a lot better than a lot of the idiots that we've had also at the club and that we could have got. So, I don't have blind faith in Poch, and I agree that there are an awful lot of misgivings about him. But I think there's a sense to me that he was probably the best of what we could have got at the time. But hey, mate, Jalal, at the end of the day, if he doesn't cut it, doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get the tin tack eventually, aren't you? So time will out. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt the flow of your email, but I just thought it was relevant.
No, can I just say as well that that's why we haven't been attacking him too much, because we've been through all those managers. We've been further than those managers. We know the.
I'm sure Jalal's been around. Jalal has been around.
No, he has. Yeah, but still not as long as me. So
no.
So
even I've not been around as long as you.
No, it's impossible to anybody be around as long as me. So, but it's the sort of pulling the trigger and thinking, well, who's going to come in and do it, and then they'd have to get a whole lot of new players for the new boss, and who would want to come in knowing that there isn't any other players coming in knowing that there isn't any European football. Well, there may be if we suddenly have a surge of competence in the last few matches, or even get to somebody asked an interesting question on Twitter. If we got to the cup final and the team who beat us was already in the European Cup, in the Champions League, would we then get into one of the other European competitions?
I don't know the answer.
Another place was available. I thought that was interesting because it might be, another incentive.
I think. Look, to go back to Poch, if they get rid of him in the summer, I think it will be a very interesting barometer as to really where we are as a football club right now in terms of who we can get. But I tell you what, it won't be anybody of the caliber of Klopp or of Guardiola or any what we've been used to, a proven trophy-winning elite manager. I will bet any kind of money with anybody that we won't get anybody of that caliber.
But we're connected with De Zerbi, aren't we, at the moment?
Proof were needed.
Yeah.
He's won 4 of his last 12 matches and gets thumped by teams like Fulham.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck did you want him for?
I know.
I mean, anyway.
Once again, that could just be clickbait as always. So
I agree. Right. Back to Jalal, because he has got some good points here. Although I would argue the toss with him about quality of players. We've seen that these players have quality. It is there. We've not bought duds, but the reason we see them turn it on and off is because there is no consistent game plan, no consistent pattern of play. Well, I've argued in the past, Jalal, that I'm not entirely sure that Pochettino and this is not to mitigate him at all. I mean, I should finish the point really. He hasn't really got a team full of players that he wants to play the way that he wants to play. Now, I would agree with your possible comeback on that, Jalal, is that good managers will adapt to the players that they have. I mean, Tuchel's a prime example of that. He came in, he had a look, didn't he, in that Brighton game, realised that he needed to play Mason Mount. So Mason Mount pretty much started every game for Tuchel thereafter, and he played a system that suited the players he had, and he was very successful with it. That's what good managers do. I couldn't stand the likes of Sarri because he only had one way of playing, and it was his way, and you had to fit into that. I've never really, I like flexibility. So I would agree with you on that. But I think the reason is because he just doesn't have, I think we've got a hodgepodge of players that have been brought in with no conception of who they might be playing for, what kind of style of football they want to play. And I think it shows. I mean, you could argue, I suppose, that, I think this is a big argument that people have these days, isn't it? It's like, have you got system players or football players? And I think there are a lot of system players around now who can only kind of play in one way. But anyway, we digress. And those are set by the coach who just hasn't shown that he can put out a team and motivate the team and coach them to actually carry out a plan of action from one game to another. I have zero faith in this manager because of our finances, our sacking of 2 managers last season, and headless chickens for sporting directors. We have absolutely no choice but to stick with this guy. Well, that may be the case, because prior to the sporting directors, the owners have chopped and changed far, far too much all at once. And then they've hired 3 sporting directors, fired one, given equal power to the other 2, who likely have varying opinions and ideas. Bang on, Jalal. It's such a mess, man. I agree. Such a mess. I refuse to blame the players. We have talent on the pitch. Gusto is a boss. Correct. Palmer is matter reincarnated at a younger age. Probably. Dizazi is solid. Occasionally. Levi at centre-back is great. Possibly. Enzo and Caicedo have performed better recently, but certainly not to the level that you expect. I mean, I was saying to JK and the boys the other night, I said, this is a club that used to have, John Obi Mikel and N'Golo Kante. That's the kind of standard, Claude Makelele. These are the kind of standards of central midfielders we've had. We've had some of the best in the world who were at their peak at the time. Caicedo and Enzo are as far off that as I am. Anyway, Connor is Connor. Should have scored, though. Jackson is surprisingly very crucial to our attack. Madueke and Mudryk are the 2 I am very iffy about, but I'll still give them the benefit of the doubt. And Nkunku, I'm worried about. Such a lack of desire from an experienced player. I mean, broadly, I agree with you there, Jalal. I have to say, I'm sorry for the rant, guys. Jalal, don't ever, ever, ever apologise for having a rant. The point of this show is to give you a platform to rant. We rant enough on the show most of the time. You are allowed to rant. It's positively encouraged here. I might disagree with some of the points, but you are absolutely entitled to say whatever the hell you want. That is the point of this show. So don't apologise for ranting. That match really disappointed me because we absolutely should have won that in the last 45 minutes. Correct. Whatever. Fuck it. We continue to support. Absolutely. Keep the blue flag flying high and up the Chelsea, even if I'm saying it with far less gusto than I would use. What's Gusto done? Oh, you don't mean that.
Oh,
anyway,
Chidge, clever. Oh, wow.
Take care, you all. Look, Jalal, I hope you're all right, mate. I mean, totally. You've written that after the game. You should have seen what we were like after the game. Immediately after, you should have seen what we were like on the FanCast 3 days later. We were still really hacked off. So, mate, this is what football does to you, and I love you for doing it. So don't you worry about that, mate. All right, JK. Email number 5.
Matt Scott. Good evening, you absolute fucking leg ends. Oh, Matt, thank you. Hope everyone's well. Well, I've got a bit of a cough. Apologies from the start, as my punctuation isn't my best attribute. I'm not seeing anything wrong at the moment. So bear with me. It's not long since the final whistle at Wembley when we've unfortunately fallen short. You said fell short. I'm going to have to catch you there. In another final. However, I just would like to point out a few things, one of which is the fact we've been in another final. It's a very good point. Absolutely correct. We have been in another final, which pissed people off, but didn't piss people off enough because we got called the £1 billion bottle jobs, which will stay with us for a bit, but never mind. Point number 1. It's been 2 years since Todd Bowley and Clear Gareth Capital have been at the helm. amongst all of the bullshit they've created from clearing out all of the amazing people that's made Chelsea Football Club so successful over the last 2 decades, to having gone through 4 managers and completely changing the whole squad, actually making it to a final shows a little bit of character from Poch and the boys and what could potentially be ahead in the next few years. Yes, I think, and also we were very lucky. No, we weren't that lucky with the draw. We're lucky to be at home, but we played well against Newcastle. We played, and we've played well recently against Villa, not in the same competition, obviously. But we beat Brighton as well. So we did do well. We actually pulled it out of the bag earlier on in those games, but it was so typical of our lack of consistency. Anyway, I can't be fucked to look at social media platforms right now. There'll be so many fickle Chelsea fans saying Poch ain't the right man. In my humble opinion, stick with him, get behind the players, see out this project. Ooh, not sure I like that word. We've been absolutely blessed with success. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to that world. Sorry. Over the last 20 years, many of us remember what it was like before Roman. Let's see the project through. Hopefully we can see more silverware in the near future. I can't quite agree with you, Matt, because I think you expect a better performance given the elite quality of the side. It's no good saying we've had our 20 years.
It's not an elite side. They are not elite players.
No, they're not. But all right, it's an elite club. Then they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's more like it.
That's what I meant by it, rather than side. No, they're definitely not an elite side. I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing for me to say. But I think that is what sticks in the craw. It's very difficult to sit back and accept a project, particularly since you when you're watching, they are so shit.
I think the point that fucks most people off, basically, JK, is the thing that's fucked me off from the beginning, which is if you're going to spend £1 billion on players, buy some fucking world-class ones.
Yeah.
Not a bunch of babies who've proven nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a waste of money.
Yeah, that's where they got it completely wrong, wasn't it? They could have assembled for that money a complete powerhouse. They could have assembled.
I mean, I know
Real Madrid.
I know it's bonkers, but they could have bought bloody Mbappe for $500 million if they really wanted him.
Yeah.
And that's half of what we spent.
Yeah,
I mean that's just.
I agree. Anyway, point number 2: listening to that prick Jamie Carragher coming in his shitty little pants. Isn't that the 2 M's in coming? I think Cooming in his shitty little pants when Virgil van Dijk scored the winner was cringy. Yes, of course. Him and that little fucking ferret Gary Neville need to do their homework before talking absolute nonsense in regards to Klopp's kids. Someone explain this to me. Liverpool's starting 11 in the Carabao Cup final: Kelleher 25, Robertson 29, Virgil van Dijk 32, Konate 24, Bradley 20, Gravenberch 21, Endo 31, Max Allister McAllister 25, Diaz 27, Gakpo 24, Elliott 20, average age 25. Chelsea starting 11: Petrovic 24, Chilwell 27, Colwell 20, Disasi 25, Gusto 20, Casado 20, Enzo 23, Sterling 29, Gallagher 24, Palmer 21, Jackson 22, average age 23. I don't think it was as much we're going down here. Liverpool's 11 that ended the game: Kelleher 25, Simicas 27, Virgil van Dijk 32, McConnell 19, Quansah 21, Gomez 26, Endo 31, Clark 19, Diaz 27, Dance 18, Elliott 20, average age 24. Chelsea 11 that ended the game: Petrovic 24, Chalabar 24, Colwell 20, Disasi 25, Gusto 20, Casado 22, Enzo 23, Mudryk 23, Madueke 21, Palmer 21, and Kunku 26, average age 22. At no point during this game did Liverpool have a younger average age side on the field than Chelsea. So all this Klopp's kids talk can fuck right off. Anyways, much love and up the fucking Chelsea. Matt Scott. It's a good one, Matt. I think the problem was it was the timing of it. It was the fact that he brought on the 3 youths, didn't he, as the last 3 substitutes when we'd been all over them, and we then succumbed. And that's what didn't look good. It was the timing of it. That gave them the justification to say that it was the kids. I think if they'd been scattered about, then you wouldn't have made any difference. It was the fact that the last 3 subs, they all came on and looked like as if they were just out of the dormitory. You know, it was. I think he brought Clark, Dance, and Elliott on, didn't he? He's the last three. Was it McConnell? One of them. So they were all. You suddenly thought, bloody hell, look at these kids. That was the kids thing. It was that aspect of it, and the media just latched onto it. But you knew they would. You know, if they won it, you knew that that's what. In a sense, I thought, as I said on the show and in my fan bar, I thought he was taking the piss. Klopp. I thought he was doing, you know, hey, look what a great. And also, he's watching the game. He's seeing what's going on. He's noticing that we're not making any effort, and he's thinking, "I'll just bring the youngsters on and run them around." You know. Having said that, I think he brought some of them on, hadn't he, just before the end of the first night of the 90 minutes, and we'd been all over them still. So, you know what? It was just a perfect opportunity for spite and to point out how ludicrous Clearlake had been, and you know.
Well, they don't like us, and any stick they can find to beat us. It's always been the way, and it will always be the way. Because I mean, if you remember, we had David Walker on the other week. It's the red football mafia of Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United. They are the status quo. They like things to be the way they are, and we fucked with that, as did Man City, and they don't like it. Right. Email 6, Daniel Cabraal. Hello, Chidge. JK, it's been a while. How many depressing emails could I send you each week? JK, each week speaks my internal monologue. When I can't put words to our performance, I turned to JK for guidance. It's like Mother Mary, isn't it? Whispering words of wisdom, let it be Chelsea. After listening to his rant, I put my phone down and hugged the air, imagining JK in my arms with a tear down his eye, as I say to him, I understand our struggle has felt like 10 years when in reality it's just under 2 years. Keep it up, lads. I know you're just as tired as us all. We love you, Daniel.
Oh,
Daniel, we love you too, man.
Daniel.
Hell yes.
Oh, Daniel, yes. Let's cry together when we hug.
Yeah, we will.
That would be lovely. Neil Spencer now, not George Spencer. Are they related?
No, we've had that joke before, mate.
Wasn't a joke. I was asking.
We've had that question before.
That's better. Do you mind if I just blow my nose?
No, you go ahead. There'll be some interstitial music playing in a minute, obviously.
I'm back. Dearest Chidge. Oh,
yeah,
Chidge.
Man. Yeah,
Wow.
Neil
sure
knows
you shouldn't be reading this one, eh?
Sir
Lord Jonathan of Kydd. I can't go do Kydd because I'm the Lord Jonathan. Thank you, Neil. Thank you. And the other glorious therapist you have with you this evening. No, we don't.
Free wherever you may be. You are the Lord of Jonathan Kydd. Doesn't really scan, does it? Sorry for my interruption, which was completely pointless.
It is because it's Lord of the Dance, isn't it? That song. Yeah, clever. Yeah. And I'm preaching to the choir, but that to me was the clearest evidence yet. We have an Argentinian Gareth Southgate impersonator at the helm. I'm so desperate for longevity to give someone, almost anyone, Klopp amounts of time in charge. But as he proved with the Spuds and he proved to a few of us today at Wembley, he can't get teams across the line. You could make that. You could make that conclusion. It
was the worry, wasn't it?
It was.
It was the worry.
We all
were all saying afterwards.
You were.
I mean, I said it on the show, didn't I? Or in the WhatsApp group. I said we will never win a trophy under Pochettino. I was that miserable about it all.
Yeah.
I did say. So there you go.
Okay, we are profligate in front of goal. You could say that again, Neil. Like an idiot. And yes,
we are profligate in front of goal.
Oh, you said it. Okay. And we
you
should have
say it again.
Yeah. And we should have won it in 90 minutes. We should have won it in 90 minutes. However, we had our foot on their necks. And yet, just as Klopp was getting his team fired up for extra time, our lot were being massaged, having little one-on-one chats with the coaches, looking altogether too casual or maybe too resigned. Do you think that Neil, that they'd given up, some of them? Or they were just thinking, I'm too knackered? I mean, was it Desazi was having his hamstring stretched, or was it Chalabar? I can't remember. He'd come on, one of them. Anyway, extra time started as if our team had been beamed up by Scotty to be replaced with the team that played Wolves, Forest, or any other of the plethora of shite games we've played this season. Lovely word, shite. Like so many others, I thought after Villa, Palace and City, we finally found something. This happens all the time with this team, though, doesn't it? Whilst I'm not sure what it was, we did at least locate what appeared to be a team, and a hungry one, no less. So where the fuck did that go between 90 minutes and the start of extra time? I can only conclude that given we have no leadership either in the dugout or on the field, this fantasy of actually winning again at Wembley simply evaporated like a fart in the wind. Yes, it's a very good point, isn't it? What the fuck?
Apart from the fact that we've lost 5 times at Wembley before we lost this time, and they were all under the previous ownership that was winning everything.
Yes, no,
with a completely different set of players.
Yeah, no, what I wasn't thinking about that. I'm just thinking about particularly that game. You know, once again,
we should never have lost that game.
What the fuck happened?
We should have won it in 90 minutes.
That period.
And if Connor scores one of those 3 chances that he could and should have put away, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's true.
Now, I'm not trying to paper over the cracks, but those are the facts, mate.
Yeah. Anyway, I can only conclude that given we have no leadership either in the dugout or on the field, this fantasy of actually winning again at Wembley, I've just said that line, evaporated. I want to do it again. Simply evaporated like a fart in the wind. And yes, let's talk about leaders. Granted, we have a young team and Thiago has no interest in leading us, but JT wasn't exactly long in the tooth before he started to lead us, even before being made captain. We bought all this highly priced dross. Oh, well expressed, Neil, well expressed. When what we should have bought, we were just saying that. Lifelong Chelsea fan and leader in Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Now the fucking Gooners have him, and look where they seem to be going. What an absolute bunch of mugs we are. Don't get me wrong, though, boys. I'll be as up for the next game as I have been for the last 50 years. But today was an absolute punch in all of our stomachs. It wasn't just my stomach.
I only have one. I'm not a cow.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think he meant. I think he meant a kind of a collective stomach.
All of our stomachs, a collective.
Yeah.
I know what he meant.
But it wasn't just a stomach. It was. Finally, it's been said too much, I know, but the diabolical media loving of Klopp and the car thieves. Oh, careful! Is just far too much. Those wankers at TalkSport, Cundy aside, who's a legend, are giving each other handy shandies, I believe, whenever the topic of Liverpool comes up. You mean they're wanking each other off? Anyway, all this despite them being the biggest whiners in world football, be it injuries, the injustice of VAR, or the fact that the entire sporting world doesn't respect them enough. This despite the fact they boo the national anthem, seemingly having no respect for the very country they exist within and demand respect from. Despite all this, the media continues to have a wank fest at their every mention. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I bet a large amount of money the rest of football were desperate for a Chelsea win today.
They were.
I know that we're not liked, and like you, I couldn't give a monkey's, but I'm sure all teams were united in blue in their opposition to this vomit-inducing love affair with the Scousers. They even sound as if the microphones had been placed in front of them as the TV viewing millions were told to shed a tear that you'll never walk alone. Fuck off. It's a shame, however, that our lot weren't a lot louder. Certainly on the TV, it sounded like we were drowned out by them, unfortunately. But that's because they did indeed put the microphones nearer them. I'm sorry to have offered nothing clever nor analytical. However, you are my Chelsea therapists, and I watched from a great distance, and thus I just needed to rant to those that understand. I haven't done it as a rant, though, Neil. If you've noticed, I haven't put the passion in it. I'm sorry. Perhaps I should have done. Perhaps I should have been doing it more like that. But I haven't. I've read it as a reasoned argument, and I think it works well. I'm sorry to have offered nothing clever nor analytical. No, that's how we like it.
No. Very good.
It's
good
very
email.
good. No, I was being comedic then by saying that. That's how we like it. But no, it's good. It's both clever and analytical. However, you're my Chelsea therapist. I watch from a great distance. Thus, I just needed to rant to those that understand. Yeah. From a sad and frustrated overseas fan, I'll always say, Happy Tulsa! Connecticut, Neil. Connecticut, Neil. Is it? If it is it, I've never got this right. Is it Connecticut?
It is Connect. It's Connect.
When you see all those westerns, they always go Connecticut.
Yeah, that's because they come from America.
From America, so they miss the C.
They'd like missing a few words and syllables.
Connecticut,
America.
They go Connecticut without the C, but it really is Connecticut, is it?
And yet, oddly, there are some places that they'll say twice, like New York, New York.
Yeah, weird.
Very strange country, mate.
Do they go New Jersey, New Jersey? Do they do that?
No,
they don't.
They go New Jersey, New Jersey.
Do they go Maryland or Maryland?
Maryland or Maryland? I say potato, you say potato. Let's work the whole thing out. Okay.
Michigan. There's always a problem. Is it Michigan or Michigan?
And what's the other one? There's another one.
Arkansas.
No.
Or Arkansas.
Yeah, or Arkansas. Exactly. That's Wichita.
Wichita
or Wichita Grub. Oh, that's Australia, isn't it?
I hear them singing in The Wire.
Do you now?
I hear you singing in The Wire. Yeah,
it's a great song. Right, Michael Murray, the last email of this part, I do believe. No, I'm lying because I do like to lie a lot. There's 3 more to go. Right, Michael Murray, dearest Stamford Chidge and Duke of Kydd, hope you're both well.
Duke of Kydd. Forgive me, I have to do it.
I know. It's his signature tune. He's well. I hope JK's eye infection has cleared up.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. No.
Okay. After listening to my email on the previous show and hearing JK ask what my thoughts are now, since we've started playing better, so I thought I would email in and let you know how I'm feeling about the team now. Well, what a difference 4 weeks makes. Chelsea have started playing well, and my Kerry Dixon banner turned up. Way! The team look so well-oiled now. Well, oh, you mean us, or do you mean the team? Yeah, well-oiled is pissed, isn't it? That's what I always thought. I could be wrong. The team looks so
as if they've been on the massage bed and they were all oily, and they're about
slippery.
To have a wrestle with each other.
Yeah, like that Wolves winger from days gone by, whose name I can't remember. He would rub himself in goose fat so that when they grabbed him, anyway, the team looks so well oiled now, and it seems a few of the players have grown up and got some confidence going forward, and definitely better in defence since the old war dog has been dropped. Maybe that's what Bella was on about, dropping Silva. Don't get me wrong, he's been brilliant in the last few seasons, but since Poch has come in, he started slowing the play down, and it's clear to see that he was slowing things down. Minus the game against Wolves and the first half against Palace, we've been excellent. Everyone wrote us off against Villa, minus Chidge. Very true, Michael. I will add to that, he knew we were going to win, and we did. Indeed, Michael. I am Mystic Meg in reincarnated. What a difference it's made playing players in their proper positions. Colwell and Dizazi, wow. Those 2 boys against City were cheering and celebrating everything like it was a Champions League final. Wow, what a pair they are. Maybe the next Terry and Ricky C. Steady, Michael, steady. What a pair those 2 are. And maybe even throw Gallus in the mix before he started doing his tour of London. This team should be built around Palmer and Gallagher. Do you boys agree or not? Broadly, yes.
Yeah.
And Jackson looks more comfortable coming in from wide areas.
Yes.
A must-do for Chelsea now is give Connor the money he deserves. Absolutely right, Michael. Put Mudryk out on loan along with Noni. They both need a full season playing regularly, and then we can judge them when they come back. Keep playing Jackson out wide and buy a striker. That's what I would be doing if I was in and around the owners of the club. But what do I know? I'm just a fan that's been watching 25 years plus. This team sort of reminds me of the Chelsea of the mid to late 90s. Shit hot in the cup competitions, but dire in the league, minus the season Vialli gave up when we could have maybe won the league. I'm sure you'll both remember. I do indeed, Michael. I know JK will definitely remember.
Remember what, Chidge?
He's forgotten already. Well, listen to the email. It was all in there. It was on the 50 years show that season. JK was pissed off that we threw away our only chance of winning the league before we actually ended up doing it in 2004. I composed most
Sheffield Wednesday. Sorry, will always be in my head when he didn't make any attempt to.
Well, it was Steve Guppy's goal in the match against Leicester.
No, it made it 1-1. Yeah, but no, but it didn't screw us. If they'd actually won the next 3 games, they still would have won the title. They left it. They just left it. I'm sorry, but that's what I said before. And it really annoyed me then. It's annoying me now.
Okay, enough.
Yeah.
I composed most of this email before the final. Now my thoughts since the final. Blue £1 billion bottle jobs is what Gary Neville called us. Klopp's kids defeat Chelsea is what they said. Liverpool have got loads of injuries. But what about Chelsea's injury list? People do not understand that we play with a young team also. We should have won the game in normal time with the chances we created. But again, we couldn't finish our dinner. The Liverpool keeper was on fire, to be fair. He was indeed. Virgil van Dijk was given lots of space with every set piece they had. Why was Chilwell tracking him when you've got a big centre-back like Disasi? Yes, I know we conceded the goal when Chilwell was off, but for the disallowed goal, Chilwell was well beaten by Van Dijk in the air. Can anyone tell me what Poch was thinking of in extra time, playing like we did and sit back? Was he playing for pens, hoping for a quick counter and score? I'm still with Poch and hope he can take us forward after this loss. To be fair, he can't put his boots on and play the game. He can only do so much. And again, we need a fucking striker. Yes, a fucking striker. 20 goal a season fucking striker. And when Billy Wiz came on, I said to my dad, it's like playing with 10 men since he came on. Yes, he's raw and needs game time. So like I said earlier in the email, a season loan and then come back and hopefully play 100 times better. But I'm not going to get my boxers in a twist about this. Yes, we lost. Yeah. But yes, we lost. But now it's time to brush ourselves off and move on to the dirty Leeds bastards.
Bastards.
Dirty Leeds bastards.
Dirty Leeds bastards.
Bastards. Anyway, game on Wednesday and hopefully another cup run and a trip to Wembley and another chance outro. Well, that all happened as we kind of wanted it, Michael. Let's take this as a learning curve and move forward and play how we did for the few games before Sunday against Liverpool. Up the fucking Chelsea and keep the faith. Michael Leboeuf Murray.
Yeah.
P.S. My dad says Gary Neville is a Gareth. Word changed for so not to offend the listening public. And knew exactly what he was doing when he made those poisonous comments at the end. I agree, mate. Absolutely.
He'd prepared.
Yeah. My dad has no better words for phlegm-faced Carragher either. No, your dad's sound as a pound, Michael, as are you, my friend. And lovely to hear from you.
Bastards.
No, they're lovely. Leeds are bastards.
Carragher and
although they're bastards. Yeah, bastards. Michael and your old man, your sound as a pound. I'm really glad you got your banner as well, mate. Lovely stuff. Take it away, JK.
Neil Floyd. Good evening to the eloquent Chidge.
There you go. Thank you.
And the ethereal Duke of Kydd.
Ooh, ethereal. I'm floating away. Ooh.
Duke of Kydd. I've been an avid listener of the FanCast for many years. Poor you. Enjoying the many ups and not enjoying so much the downs of a club I've held close to my heart. You are like us. I've been fortunate enough to follow Chelsea since the early 90s. Certainly remember some of the less inspiring seasons we've been involved in. The mid-table 92-93 season comes to mind. Yes, that was a shit shower of a season. I remembered it well.
Was it an absolute shower?
An absolute shit shower. A shit shower. An absolute stinker of a season.
Stinker.
Fortunately, that didn't last for too long. It felt as if the club was on the rise when Hoddle took over as manager. Well, and the chain of fantastic footballers that have played for the club, such as Hullet, wonderful. Hughes, wonderful. Vialli, wonderful. Di Matteo, wonderful. Zola, I can't do it. They're all wonderful. Desai, Hasselbank, Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Hazard, Diego Costa, many others who would make this email far too long. Built a dynasty. Roman coming to buy the club was a total unexpected dream, realised the unthinkable, a world-class team with world-class manager and players. It was so good for so long, it felt impossible they would ever go backwards. Then politics got involved. Roman went and in came, I can't even say their name. I can't say it. I'm so fed up with them. Yes, of course, you know all this. I'm preaching to the converted. The team and manager seem to be bereft of ideas. I once shouted that out, actually, at the bridge. I got a very strange response. Come on, Chelsea, bereft of ideas. And I remember some bloke said, bereft? What the fuck are you talking about?
Who'd he play for?
Yeah. Freddie Bereft.
What position's he in, mate?
Bereft.
Mate, he's not on a subs bench. What are you talking about?
How about devoid? You said devoid?
No. He turned us down and went to Juventus.
Johnny Devoid. Arturo. Or Tense.
No, Yanni.
Yanni Devoid.
Gianni Devoid.
Yanni Devoid.
Well, maybe he was Dutch.
Yanni Devoid. Yeah, that would be.
No, he would have been Johnny.
Devoid.
Johnny Devoid. Johnny
Devoid.
Devoid.
Yes, he would.
Johnny
be,
Devoid.
Yeah. The team and manager seem to be bereft of ideas. I've just done that, haven't I?
You have. You said it again. Good
God. Yeah. Good God. Good God. What? Yeah. Good God. What is? It's VAR. Sorry, VAR. Good God. What is the good of VAR?
If you're going to do it, if you're going to do the gag, if you're going to do the gag, do it right.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's another song, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah. If you're
gonna
do it right. Do it for me. If you're gonna do it right.
We don't do wham songs in this show, JK.
Well, we could do.
There's a limit. There's a limit.
Okay, all right.
I don't know, mate. Just wake me up before you go. All right.
Oh, Chidge, well done. Very good indeed. It's just Jonathan scouring his head for other wham songs that have.
Be very careful. Be very careful not to whisper too much.
Oh, carelessly or otherwise.
Carefree.
Yeah, of course. Yes, indeed. Good. Yeah. I'm suddenly going into it when he did that other album, wasn't it? Older. He did some very good songs on that. He did do
some. I know we take the piss, but he was a fine
artiste.
Singer and music. Yeah, he was a fine artiste. Yeah, indeed.
Baby.
Where are we in the email?
Oh, who cares about the email? I do. Yeah, I care.
What email?
The team and manager seem to be bereft of ideas. Oh,
you said it again. No, just get on with it.
Say it again. VAR. Good God. What is the good of VAR? Absolutely nothing. There is a lot of talk about what Chelsea is or represents, but no apparent plan on how to achieve it. Everything seems so ill thought out. Well, yeah, I think they thought we've got a great plan. We're going to buy all these players. They're going to be great. We've got all the data on them. We've got everything worked out. They're going to be great. And got it wrong. I have little or no confidence in the ownership's ability to realize what actually needs doing to get us back to the top. I am not going to go on and on. Oh, do, Neil, do. I just wanted to say that after the disgraceful performance at Wembley on Sunday, the extra time was embarrassing, wasn't it? It was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Finally realised I no longer feel the connection with the club that I used to. No, don't give up. No, it's not so much the fact we're currently so mediocre, but more because I no longer have the impression of unity or vision from the owners. Unity of vision from the owners. I agree. Roman hardly ever spoke. You always felt he understood football and the supporters. He wanted to supply the best football club he could. He wanted to be excited by great players and achieve silverware, not only to make the club more profitable. I really, really hope I'm wrong that the current actually he didn't make the club more profitable. That was the problem with it. It was just like an enormous birthday present all the time, wasn't it? Anyway, I really, really hope I'm wrong. The current owners want to take Chelsea back to the top. At the moment, it appears so chaotic. I'm sure they do want to take Chelsea back to the top. I just think they've just been completely inept at doing it. Yeah, they don't know how to do it. Yeah, not a new conversation, nothing new to add. Everything that happened over the weekend, it just nailed it for me. I feel like burying my head in the sand until next season in the hope that something will change. Oh, mate.
Where's your head, Neil?
Oh,
It's in the sand.
It's in the sand. I was in that one.
I know you were. That's why
Chidge,
I referenced
well done. That's why you referenced it. That's very sweet of you.
That.
Thank God for the Chelsea. Good God. What is the good of that?
No.
Thank God for the Chelsea FanCast to help vent the frustration. Thank you for listening. Neil, a.k.a. Di Matteo's Belter. He did a few of those too, especially the one in the cup final in '97. I was there.
He did indeed. Neil, do you know what, Neil? You that email is evocative of so many people in and around Stamford Bridge at the moment who are feeling a massive disconnection with the club like they never have before. And it is a real problem. And I can tell you that the Supporters Trust are on the case with that. That's all I can say. But I think they will be communicating that to the club in due course. Right. Tom Stopford Sackville. What a great name. Hello, Chidge, JK, and the team.
I knew somebody called Tom Sackville Stopford.
Did you?
Yeah.
I knew somebody called Tom Sackville West.
Yeah, so did I.
Maybe that was the Cornwall branch of the family.
Yeah. I knew somebody called Vita Sackville West.
Vito or Vita?
Vita.
Was that the Italian branch of the family?
I presume so. I don't know. That would have been Sackville West.
Don Vito. All right. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
amused. I was amused at comments that you made recently about having listeners in Hong Kong as I started listening to the Chelsea FanCast back in 2011 when I lived in Hong Kong. And on a Tuesday morning,
He actually says Hong Long. He actually says.
He did. I know, but I was being kind and saying, well, he obviously
right.
just yes, I know. There's
no need to place called Hong Long.
There may be, there may not be, who knows. Anyway, he would go for a pre or post work walk on some of the wonderful trails in Hong Kong and listen to your great show. I'm just delighted you were listening back then, Tom. That's outstanding. Anyway, and I don't think I've missed one in 13 years, even more outstanding. Even now, we've moved back to London in 2017. You're an integral part of my week, helping me get through Tuesdays. I usually do about half from waking up and then getting to work and save the last bit for the return home. My wife, Charlotte, often laughs in the background. Good on you, Charlotte. As I do my morning ablutions, listening to the start of the show and saying things like, they don't sound very happy recently, as JK goes on one of his rants. Or she says, for fuck's sake, can you turn it down? Luckily, she doesn't know what a Gareth is. It's probably for the best. Yeah, it's probably for the best, Tom, isn't it, really? Just for info, I'm a season ticket holder in the Matthew Harding Lower since it was built. Top man. And my first game was a 1-0 victory over Leicester City on Boxing Day in 1979. Mick Fillery. Well done. My son Blake turned 9 on Saturday, so on Sunday, with some trepidation, I took him to his worst Freudian slip there, Tom, to his first Wembley final. I wasn't in a great mood anyway, having fallen down the stairs and banged up my ribs on the Friday. I'm sorry to hear that. I tried to help a neighbour start the one man went to Mo chant when Gravenberch was injured, but it was so painful I had to give it up at 4 men to summon up enough puff for 9 and 10. I was just hoping my 9-year-old wouldn't be scarred for life. Well, you know, Tom, if you've been listening, you will do. I mean, I took my 17-year-old nephew to his first Wembley final, and I think he kind of looked at me afterwards like, why did you do this to me? But there's always hope. There's always hope. His little face on the ride home from Wembley Park was heartbreaking. It's a nasty ride, painfully depressing ride home with a train full of rightly fucked off Chelsea fans and an emotional 9-year-old. Plenty has been said about the game, the missed chances and the extra time lethargy and Klopp's kids, who were actually no younger than ours. But I just wanted to agree with all of your comments about the red press. Wembley Stadium is red. Understand that there is no blue on the St George's Cross, but for fuck's sake, and the red media, all grown up on Liverpool, Arsenal and Man United domination, are driving me mad. Thank God for Pat Nevin and his wonderful work on the BBC and in the Telegraph. As for Poch and the current side, I cannot predict any uplift in our fortunes anytime soon, and I can only work from game to game. So dirty Leeds, bastards. Bastards. On Wednesday is as far as I dare look. Luckily, it's on a school night, so my son will watch it on the telly. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do for us all. And I'm sure I speak for thousands of people who listen, but you don't even know about. That's a really good point, Tom. And I am kind of, I am aware of that. Regards, Tom. Tom, by the way, is a fine wine director. Tom, you sound like one of my favorite type of people because I, as you probably, if you've been listening to the show, you'll remember that I went out to France in September, and I think Dino might have done the shows while I was away. He did do the shows when I was away, didn't he?
Yes,
he did. Because I was away and I was visiting a chum who, would you believe? See, you will know this, Tom, because if you know your fine wine, you will know the significance of Meursault and Pouligny-Morachet in Burgundy. And I was so a friend of mine's. He's got a little growth actually, which sounds a bit rude, but he's got a little winery, as the Aussies might say, called Chateau de Blarney, I think.
Vineyard.
Vineyard. That'd be the one. Chateau de Blarney. So you may well know him if you're fine wine. Ping me an email and let me know. And anyway, I've got a bottle of it sitting in the garage, keeping it comfortably cool for the summer. Actually, no, I can't drink it for a few years yet because he gets cross if I drink it too early. So it's one of those you have to lay down for a while, and then you lay down after you've drunk it. Boom.
It's interesting. He's got the word sack in his name, because sack, of course, is the original name for sherry.
Is it?
A sheriff's sack.
So he's really Tom Stopford Sherry Town.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go. All right.
Yeah.
Tom, it's bloody marvellous to hear from you. That's the bottom line. All right. So well done you. And don't leave it so long to write it next time. And if you're about at the bridge, let me know. Come and have a pint or a glass of wine. Why not? I'm not fussy. Right, we're almost at the end of part 1, which, as always, on the In Off the Post show has extended its length by at least 25% because JK and I waffle on
Fart about, Chidge.
ridiculously. But there is still time for a few plugs, and the first of said plugs, of course, is the wonderful CFC UK fanzine. A new one is out, as you probably know from last Monday's show. So you'll be able to get it at the Newcastle game on Monday. And all you do is you go to the fanzine stall, which is opposite the exit to Fulham Broadway Station. And you can pay only £1. Now, if you can't make it to the matches, do not worry. You can always get this by the post. And you can subscribe for a year. Now, an annual subscription is going to cost you 20 quid in the UK. It's going to cost you 45 quid in Europe, 60 quid in the rest of the world. And you can also get it digitally. So you get an email of a PDF sent out to you. And that'll cost you 6 quid for a year or £1 each. And you can pay via PayPal. And the email address to subscribe for a year is fanzine@cfcuk.net. So there you go. Now, the other thing we like to plug, as you will well know, is, of course, the Chelsea pitch owners. Lovely picture of a Chelsea pitch owners share there, signed by, I believe, Sir Frank Lampard, no less. Like mine, actually. I've got one signed by Frank Lampard. Now, as you know, it's a very vital thing. It means you actually get to own a share of the freehold of the stadium. So you actually get to own a bit of the club that you love. And, of course, more importantly, it will protect it from being sold to a property developer or other nefarious person in the future. The idea meaning that, Chelsea Football Club play at Stamford Bridge. It is our spiritual home. More pertinently for the present day, because of course this was invented by Ken Bates when, of course, this was a real threat with Marler Estates, etc., etc. But what it does now, what it will do now, is it will give you a say, because if the club or the owners of the club want to do anything with the ground, either redevelop it, rebuild it, move it, relocate it, whatever they want to do, they cannot do so unless they get 75% plus of the CPO shareholders agreeing. So if you have a share, you have a say in that process. All right, so it's pretty cool. Right, those shares, just a normal electronic share, which they'll email you, will cost you 110 quid. And the one like you see in the picture, a framed one signed by a player, will cost you about 175 quid. Go to Chelsea Pitch Owners, the website, which is chelseafc.com/Chelsea-pitch-owners. They are at Pitch Owners on Twitter, and you can email them for more information at comms@chelseapitchowners.com. All very simple. Now, last bit of pluggery. As you know, we've been plugging this for a long time now, but D-Day, no pun intended, is coming soon, because by the end of the month, if you want to come on the Chelsea FanCast Western Front Tour, Battlefield Tour, you need to have signed up and paid by the end of this month, March. It is well worth it. You get, Andrew Holmes, Johnny Dyer, and our very own beautiful, lovely Alex Churchill really know their onions, to the extent that they've written a book about this tour in terms of a lot of the footballer graves that you go to, Chelsea footballers, Chelsea supporters who were involved in the Great War. You see all the big ticket items like Teepval, Vimy Ridge, Passchendaele, Arras we go to, obviously Ypres we're at. So you don't miss a thing in terms of the really huge historic places to go and visit from these battles. So there was the Battle of the Somme, obviously, in 1916, and there were 3 battles at Ypres. Meningate as well. You get to see the last post done there, which they do every day, and I defy you not to shed a tear at that. It is very moving. In amongst all of that, you have great fun because good people go. Me and Tony are going to be there. A few other people you may know. So there's a lot of good social in the evening. We all like a beer, and we wind down after a long, hard day being emotional, looking at cemeteries, by having lovely meals and a few drinkies. And the hotels are lovely too. It really is something not to miss. It's a trip of a lifetime. If you've got relatives that fought or died in the Great War in the Somme or near Ypres or in the battles of Ypres, then these guys will do some research for you. They will actually go and find out about what happened to your relatives, and then they will take you to the relevant places where they fought and or died, and you can learn all about it. It is absolutely brilliant. I recommend it to you. The website address is on the screen now, and this little kind of flyer is pinned to the Chelsea FanCast Twitter page. So don't muck about. You've got a few weeks to sign up and have a lot of fun. It'll be great. You will absolutely love it. I guarantee that completely. So there you go. All I can say now, really, is that we will be back. Jonathan's already gone off for his cup of tea at half time. We'll be back after a very short break for part 2. See you then. Welcome back. This is the Chelsea FanCast. I'm, of course, Stamford Chidge, and I'm joined by the marvellous Jonathan Kydd. You like that, don't you?
I do.
We've had it for about, 13, 14
years.
years, and you've only just noticed it now. This is why you are a legend, JK.
No, not that I've only just noticed it. It's I don't ever listen back to what we do. I don't.
Nor do I. I don't listen to the show. You listen to the show?
No, well, why would we? We've done it.
That's what I always say. We don't need to listen to it because we've been on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. Now we need to be on it. Oh, do you know what? Bollocks! I forgot to do this, and I really meant to do it. I wonder if I can do it very quickly. No, I don't know if I can because it's rather short. But yeah, okay. What I'll do is I'll try and do it while you're reading a long email. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, I'm talking in tongues here. First email.
What on earth are you going to be doing?
First email is from Keith Granger, JK.
Sorry, I appear to be breaking up a bit more than I was earlier on. I don't know what's
There's nothing we can do about that, mate.
No, I know. It's weird, isn't it?
It's the technology, right? It's the technology.
It's a bit of my flaw. And unlike Zoom, I haven't got all these other pictures up. I must get some more pictures up.
Indeed.
So I can stick. All I've got is this Drogba one and Alonso. You know, the further we get away from having Marcus Alonso as a fullback, the more I appreciate him. I appreciate him for his hair, but I appreciate him for his fantastic ability to score great goals, which we don't see. You know, we don't see it. You just think, what a fact. You know, we were so critical of him, kept the way he can't defend, and I mean, some of those goals he scored were just were superb.
So many goals. I love Marcus Alonso. So many goals.
But you know, when you got favourite players, you know, and you'll just say afterwards, who are your favourite players? Oh, I loved him. He's great. You know, and Mickey Thomas, I loved him because he never stopped trying. He was very skillful. In the same way that Alonso, I used to think, God, bloody hell, how's he scored that? God, what a rifling the ball into the corner with a velocity and an accuracy. You just think, oh, wow, brilliant. Anyway.
I love Marcus Alonso. I mean, I loved him anyway when we had him, but I miss him really.
He's got a back injury.
Has he?
He's not playing. He had a back operation. Yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm interested. Also, Christensen hasn't been playing in the back four. They've been playing him in midfield because they've got so many injuries. They thought he wasn't going to. And what was it? Played for Southampton. Omaru. What was his name?
Romeo.
Yeah. He played for. Who was it?
Barcelona.
No, he does no, but he was playing. He got transferred to another Spanish side beginning with G, but they played wonderfully for them last year. So Barcelona took him in to play for them. Yes,
Getafe?
Exactly. Yeah, it was. That's what I think it was. Yeah, I think it was them anyway. But he played so well for them that he went to Barcelona, and he hasn't been playing as well for Barcelona. I watched him the other day get rinsed. But no, I just dip in. I dip in and watch occasional bits of European football, you know, just to feel that I know what I'm talking about a bit.
Are you knowledgeable?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Are you in the know?
No, I wouldn't even say that either. Just like watching a bit of football.
Or are you in the gnome?
The way I'm looking at the moment, I'm in the gnome.
I think we've got a new thing here. JK, for all your transfer news, he's in the gnome.
You have to say, are you wearing your gnome's hat? You'll have to say, and I'll say, yep, I know that I'm in the gnome.
There will be merch available. Richard, the legend that is Richard has come up with a gnome, a garden gnome that looks like JK dressed in a Chelsea kit. I'm not shitting you. I will put a picture up to prove it on the next show.
Bizarrely, though, to be fair, it looks like my dad.
Does it really?
It really does. It looks like I keep thinking it's not a picture of me. It's a picture of my dad. He's got a picture of my dad. He's waiting for me to tell him that I know what he's done.
Oh, okay, right. We should read this email about.
Yeah. Keith Granger. Keith, hello, Chidge. Jason Sulkey played Harris in Sharp. Now, weirdly enough, Keith, he used to sit in front of me in the East Stand when I sat at the back of the East Stand middle.
This is why Keith's written in, because we talked about this and you said exactly that. Have you forgotten? And you then went on to tell a story. You went to tell a story about him talking bollocks at the football, right? This is why Keith has written in. Yes, you've forgotten, haven't you? You forgot. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, carry on with Keith's email.
Yes, he was slightly fond of himself, Jason, when he was in Sharp. Some actors get like
go to the next match because I'm in Hollywood next week.
There was a touch of that. Yeah, I can't come next week. I'm filming with Sharp. Jesus Christ, mate. Watch what happens if Anyway, I've experienced that so often in my career. People have just up themselves for a brief period, and then realise that it's not all about. It's difficult to get work. But anyway, nice chap. Hello, Chidge. Jason Sulkey played Harris in Sharp. I just read that, but I'm reading again. He sits a few seats away from me in the East Upper, but I think he shares a ticket. So seen him a handful of times this season because he'll be away working somewhere. No, I think he is. Nice bloke. Years ago, once gave me and my dad a lift when the district line was closed after a game. Never thought he was affected by Sharp fame. That was some time ago. He used to do Sharp conventions and Napoleonic reenactment events too. Maybe he still does. I bet you he does, because that is a great source of dosh, and good on him, because I've attempted to get into some voiceover conventions for doing all the video games I've done, but it's because I'm anonymous. I've played smallish parts in them, because I've got the girl who used to play Lara Croft in the very first, what was it, Tomb Raider. She's a friend of mine, and she goes to all these conventions and gets paid a fortune for appearing as the voice of Lara Croft. Anyway,
you need to get on that gravy train, mate.
You do, but I've failed somehow to get it. Assassin's Creed isn't probably good enough. And Fable, up in Fable, I was in Call of Duty. All of these, I've done these, all the Harry Potters, but yes. No, it was Potter. Put down that wand. Anyway, I never thought he was affected by Sharp fame. That was some time ago. We used to do Sharp conventions and the Sharp impersonations. Bastards.
Well, that's what Sharp.
That's why I said it.
Oh, brilliant. Bastards.
Bastards. And Napoleonic reenactment events too. Maybe he still does. I think he would have been a guest, wouldn't he? He'd been paid a bit of dosh for that. I know he's writing now. Get him on the podcast. Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd like to.
Would you? Let's get him on.
Fest.
Yeah,
a bitch fight.
Yeah.
A lovely bitch fight between JK and Jason Salke.
No, I wouldn't. I like him very much.
Yeah.
Nice man. Yeah.
Meow.
Anyway. Ruff. Oh, there's a dog in here. What? We were there Sunday. Thanks for cheering us up. We played well enough, but finishing poor as ever. Yes. Cheers, Keith. Oops. Cannot believe I didn't write. Hello, Chidge and JK. Sincere apologies, JK. Thank you both and the rest of the team for a great show. Cheers, Keith. What's that about, that bit?
Well, he sent a second email because he clearly just went straight into the first part of the email, said, hello, Chidge, didn't acknowledge you and didn't say, how are you, and all the rest of it. And then he remembered.
Sorry. Oh, that's right. He put, oops, cannot believe I didn't write hello, Chidge and JK. That's because it's on different lines. So I've misread it. Cannot believe I didn't write hello, Chidge and JK. No, mate. No problem at all.
No problem,
Keith. I noticed it and I was a bit hurt.
Don't worry, Keith. He'll just bitch about you next week when he thinks you're not listening.
Yeah, I'll get over it somehow. Don't worry, Keith. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go and have a lie down and question myself a bit.
As it happens.
Now then. Not allowed to say that.
No, we're not allowed to say that. No. He's one of their own bastards. As it happens, I was on Facebook and I follow Jason Salke and I love Sharp. I'm massively into Sharp, and I listened as we said at the time, actually a couple of weeks ago. Alex had most of the cast of Sharp on a series of podcasts she did on Sharp during lockdown, and I've actually got a signed copy of Jason's excellent book about the series. And guess what I found on Facebook, JK? You ready for this? That's what I found on Facebook.
My God.
Oh my God. Look what he's wearing.
Wow.
There we go. He's got a Chelsea t-shirt. Chelsea with the old era. Well, that's got to be, I'd say, early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s.
Sean Bean, bastards, looks like a youth, doesn't he? Yeah, 12-year-old.
Dara, is it Dara? Is it Dara O'Brien or something?
What, the bloke next to him? It's
that's the bloke on the left. The bloke on the left is Dara.
Oh yeah. The one in the middle is
Sharpie, and John Tams.
It's who? What?
John Tams is the guy with the long hair.
Is it? I thought it was the bloke Skunk Baxter out of Steely Dan.
No. That is John Tams. Jason Salke, John Tams, Sharp, Scene Bean, for those that know him. And I think it's Dara O'Malley. I'm pretty sure it's Dara O'Malley. He played Sergeant Patrick Harper.
Yes, he did. I remember.
He was also in that one of my favourite films, which I can't remember the name of because I'm having a senior dementia moment. But it had Richard. I'm also having another senior moment. Oh God, fuck! I hate getting old. Withnell and I.
Was he? Oh, interesting.
He was in Withnell. Yeah, Dara was in Withnell and I. He played the donkey-jacketed Irishman when they were in Camden in a pub, and they fucking hell. Who's the other one? Richard and the other bloke. Paul McGann. We're in the pub. He goes to the loo and he nearly gets into a fight with this Irishman. It was Darragh O'Malley. I think it's O'Malley. Could be wrong.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But anyway, proof if proof were needed that Jason Salke is proper Chelsea because he's wearing a late 80s, early 90s Chelsea.
Because this was the late 80s and 90s. It wasn't as if he was wearing an early T-shirt. He was, in fact, wearing a T-shirt of the time.
Well, that's a picture from the late 80s. I mean, I think Sharp was early 90s, so it would have been from that vintage. And of course, Sean Bean is a massive Sheffield United fan. I mean, he's massive. He goes, when he's around in the country. So Jason was like, could have got a slap from Sean for wearing that back in those days. So
probably not. Probably not.
So he's Sharpie bastard.
Yeah, bastard, mate. Unless he was in the role too much.
Yeah, who knows? But there you go. So it was really serendipitous that Keith wrote in. And then shortly after, I found that photograph. So there you go.
Wow.
I'd happily get Jason on the show, actually. I'm sure we could love it up massively and you could behave yourself for an evening. How about that?
I'd love it. I'd have to wear my tuxedo, though.
Yeah, indeed. Right. We have an email from the lovely Philip Rawlings. Firstly, thank you for the Kerry Dixon banner. I'm sure I will find a suitable place. Although I'm not sure I should thank you, Chidge, as on the last show, saw you're a Hampshire fan. Mate, I mean, there are people who have yet to be discovered in the Amazon rainforest who know that I'm a Hampshire boy and I've been going to the cricket longer than I've been going to the football. Anyway, as a lifelong Sussex man, boo, I'm still miffed at your stealing of the best wicket-keeper batsman, Ben Brown. Wow. And England's future opening batsman, if you treat him well, Ali Orr. Wow. The consequences of the dreaded 100. I hate the 100, as you know. Or as known, the 16.4, where the rich get richer and the poor suffer. Mate, no argument there. It's a terrible, absolute bastardization of a tournament. The ECB should all be fired for inventing it. It's ruinous. Anyway, still, we only get to play you now in the T20. So if you ever fancy coming to Hove, let me know. Or vice versa, Phil. I haven't renewed my membership yet, but I'm usually a member down in Hampshire, so you're welcome up our way as well. On a lighter note, as I said previously, I spent 3 years in Sussex as a kid, and I got taken to Chelsea for the first time while down there. Also, in summer of '68, when the Sunday Cricket Entertainment was showing the International Cavaliers, I got taken to Hove for their match. I must have been a very naive 10-year-old, as armed with an autograph book when I saw Lord Ted Dexter, who sadly had got a duck, and went up to him smiling away, asking for an autograph. But Lord Ted kindly told me to fuck off. Lord Ted Wood, he was... Yes. I remember, Phil, this will cheer you up and get one back. But I remember being at Headingley in the early 90s, I believe, when Lord Ted was the chairman of selectors and he resigned. And there was a collective, remember they're all from Yorkshire, which probably helped, but there was a collective, "Fuck off, Ted Dexter, fuck off, Ted Dexter, fuck off, Ted Dexter." And I joined in because I didn't like him much either. Anyway, still, 56 years later, I'm watching every day of cricket there, surrounded by Brighton fans, which used to be okay, but they are getting too smug. Well, back to the main point of the email. Is the complete extremes of our performances since the Wolves game. That Sunday was such a low, as after scoring we got outplayed by an ordinary Wolves team who seemed faster in every aspect of the game, despite needing lucky deflections to get ahead. And taking advantage as our heads dropped. I must say, during my walk to the Troubadour, I seriously thought there was a chance that Poch would be sacked after that garbage, as he seemed to have not to have a tactical plan. I think the general opinion that Troubadour was the same shock at such an inept performance and continued playing his pet Sterling, who had another crap game. Well, the event did improve my mood slightly, as it was another top-class event. Despite to my shame, I didn't even recognise Steve Finiston when talking to him before the event started. It's easily done, though, because he doesn't look anything like that. No,
neither did I.
Well, I knew because I've had a few times talking to Jock at the bar at the Duke of Edinburgh when Nick's had some events there. So I knew what he looked like. In fact, I remember also one of the players, they have the lunch, the annual lunch, and they get a lot of the ex-players along. I remember that he walked into the Butcher's Hook afterwards, where we were all congregating, carrying on the drinking, and Mickey Fillery and Bummers were there, and we're getting a lot of love, and people were singing songs about them. and Jock looked a bit, downhearted. So I started off the, Super Jock scores more goals than that wanker Stanley Bowles. La 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 la, and his little face lit up. So I knew what it was. Anyway, we digress.
He said to me, "Hello, I'm Jock." After I'd clearly been chatting to him, and I think he.
No, you're not. You're Finnish. Anyway, right then, speaking to Mark, realising we had been to the same match the day before when his Wheelstone side came to the mighty Barnet. Apparently, Mark was not part of the fans lighting fireworks and causing damage to the stand. No, Mark, he wouldn't be, Phil, because he's well behaved. Still, it was great to hear Steve and Kenny Swain talking about their time at Chelsea. So Wednesday came, and I admit I was not looking forward to the 350-mile round trip to Villa. Good on you for going there, mate. Has struggled to be optimistic about the result. How wrong I was. First getting to the ground and realised that Poch had the bottle to drop Sterling, which gave me a glimmer of hope. But the resting of Thiago totally changed the way we played. And from looking like cart horses against Wolves, they all seemed to have 2 or 3 higher gears in their legs. So I came out the ground stunned but happy. So I had to listen into the Palace game on TalkSport with Sam Matterface and his idiot commentator Murphy. I suffered 90 minutes only to be cheered up by injury time and Connor saving our bacon. I think we are realising that Thiago, however fantastic he has been, he's probably reached the end of his career, and we were probably lucky he got injured at that time. I feel bad saying it, but I think the only time he can play now is in a 3. So then comes the daunting visit to City. My brother is a City fan, where again, I was just hoping that Poch would continue playing without Thiago and Sterling. So I got one wish, and amazingly, we got a draw and should have won if taking chances. But a draw was good. So I'm here on Saturday night watching Fulham beat Man United. Ha ha. Have they been worse than us this year? I think they arguably have. And contemplating the cup final tomorrow. Apparently, the good news on the TV is that Liverpool are so depleted, they may only have youth team players on the bench and are up against a strong Chelsea. I think I'm watching Scouse TV. Well, you'll be reading this knowing the result and whether our false hope was right. Well, here's hoping you read this letter with a smile on your faces.
No, Philip, no. No smile.
I'm always smiling. Anyway, many thanks, Philip Rawlings. He says, P.S. I'm useless on lyrics of songs and some of our ones, but if either of you know the lyrics of the John Terry song, maybe you can get your vocalist, JK, to sing it on YouTube. And I do. I know the lyrics. So anyway, hi. Just to follow up to ask one question to you two wise old scribes, as you know more about football than most. The question is, what are the benefits of passing out from the back, especially from a goal kick? And can you remember in the past 2 years any 4 positive situations that were created by this? My view is that watching goalkeepers passing it to the fullback, then back to the keeper, and so under pressure until a misplaced pass drives me mad. What's wrong with a kick up field, which 50% of the time sets us up in an attacking position? I would be interested in your thoughts.
Well, the idea behind passing out at the back is if the team is pressing, is if you can pass it quickly, one touch away from them, it means that they have an excess of players in your half, so that you have less players to deal with further up the pitch as you attack. So it needs to be a sprightly move and has to be done quickly, and probably ends, because they're pressing, with the chip over the fullback or whoever for the winger or whoever the speedy player to run to. That's why we see so many galloping goals nowadays, or one-on-ones with the goalkeeper, because it's been played out from the back. That is the idea, but you have to have players who are capable of doing it. And Desarzi, bless his cotton socks, just freaks out whenever he's given the ball, particularly by Sanchez. Petrovic doesn't play as much out. Now, the problem with taking the goal kicks is you goal kicks, American with that, but your goal kicks is you tend to give the ball away. And what they're trying to avoid doing is giving the ball away, because it's an unknown. It's you're kicking the ball down the pitch. I mean, it almost also depends on. I noticed Liverpool are great exponents of finding players with this. We seem to be not terribly good at it. Once again, it's something you think, why haven't they worked this out on the training pitch? So both Kelleher and Allison are very good at. I think the forward is aware what's going to happen, makes a run, obviously not being offside, particularly if he's in his own half. He won't be offside, so we can make the run, and Allison can then play a ball or Keller, as I say, into the either corner, and he then runs after it. Or as they scored the other day, ball was punted down the pitch by the goalkeeper really quickly, and Jota headed it across to Núñez, who then scored. So it's if done well, it's a very good ploy. But those are the things. It's this business of, if you do take a goal kick and we don't actually have anybody up front to deal with it very well. So Jackson and Sterling's incapable of doing anything with the ball that's kicked up in the air to him. So that they immediately get possession and they start again, which isn't the idea behind it. Is to give the ball away all the time is not what you're supposed to be doing. So those are the two specific reasons for that. If anybody's got any other ideas about it, tell me. But that's my view.
Indeed. And I think the John Terry song, I'm presuming you're referring to this one, Phil, but it's double, double, double. John Terry has won the double.
And the shit from the lane of one football again.
We'll be out of sync. So
I know. Sorry. I do apologise. Sorry.
Double, double, double. John Terry has won the double. And the shit from the lane of one fuck all again. And John Terry has won the double. Two, three, four. Yeah, exactly. I think it might be that one. I was there when it was conceived, as it happens. It was walking out after an FA Cup final win. I think it was probably the one where we had actually won the double. So that would have been the one against Everton. Carlos, yeah. Anyway, well done, Phil. Lovely to see you, by the way, the other week at the Troubadour. Right, this is the next one from Barrett Duperon, JK.
Is it not Barrett Duperon?
I don't know. I think he's from America.
Barrett Duperon.
America or Canada.
Also, can we go back to running Hi there. Can we go back to running our club like shit before Clairlake came in to run it properly? That's in quotation marks. Asking for a bunch of friends. How long until the Poch situation reaches Rafa out levels? Well, it happened on Saturday against Brentford.
Oh, no, it did. It was nowhere near Rafa out.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. No, I agree. But we had a chant that was similar.
Mate,
fuck off,
trust me. The Rafa went on from the moment
I know.
We had badges with Rafa out.
I know. No, please, you don't need to explain. I know. I was somebody who was in despair because, in fact, when the Guardian first mentioned that he was coming to join the club, I sent them a note saying, "What stupid journalism! How on earth would he ever come to us? He was so rude about us." And when he was appointed, I sent them another note was on Twitter, a note back saying, "I do apologise. You're absolutely right." But and from then on, booed him immediately. I booed Rafa immediately from my position in the East Stand so that he heard it. In fact, when people around me said, "You don't appear to like him very much," I said, "Of course I don't like him. He's a Gareth." Anyway.
He is indeed.
Indeed.
Each passing moment.
How long until... No, we've done that bit. Each passing moment makes it obvious he's not the man to take us forward. Potter level halftime talks. Terrible subs. You do wonder what he does at the talks at halftime. Terrible subs. Yes, well, I think he seems to want to get through them, doesn't he? Unused subs, or he doesn't. Players out of position, picking players who continually drop terrible performances, benching players when they get any kind of momentum. Yes, there's a touch of truth about Mudryk with that, isn't it? If they want Chelsea to be a top club, they've got to stop hiring managers who are afraid. Setting up a team against Brentford to not concede set pieces when their entire backline is injured.
We're up to date now. We're
very
up to Brentford match.
Very good, Barrett. Instead of setting up to completely smash them, is loser mentality. Very true, very, very true points. And particularly in the second half, where we just, what on earth? Maybe it's time we abandon the no dickheads policy, the in quotation marks, bring in someone who demands success. Much love to the FanCast family and up the Chelsea. Barrett Duperon.
Well done, Barrett. Sorry, I'm having problems with me pop screen thing here, but technical difficulties. So what did you say?
Well, I haven't said anything.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just making noises.
Come on, you fucking stupid thing.
Me?
No, I'm talking to my pop screen.
Oh, I knew you were. I was just pretending.
It's a bit flaccid.
Ooh, you sure?
I am. Now, this is from the lovely Jenny Matthews, who I believe is watching on YouTube. Yes, folks, we are live on YouTube.
Live!
Join live. So there we go. Right. Dear FanCast family, I'm writing this after the Brentford game. I'm not going to go on about Poch. The Poch out brigade are like the teacher in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The monotone words repeating the same phrase over and over, living in cloud cuckoo land. But if we got someone else in this young squad, would somehow manage to apparate. Apparate? What does she mean? What do you mean, Jenny? I'm not familiar with that word. I'm not familiar with it.
Disparate.
I don't know. I don't know.
Aggregate.
I don't know. I don't know.
Evaporate.
No. They would know. She means that they would turn into a team.
I know. I wonder whether it was evaporate and then
maybe
descend.
she means. I don't know. Jenny, you're in YouTube. We're telling you. Oh. Bat Night 29 says apparate is a Harry Potter term.
Wow.
So this, yes, it's something
You'd
magical.
think I'd know, wouldn't you? Really?
Potter, put down that wand.
Well said, Chidge. Well said.
I'm after your job, mate.
Into darkness.
Anyway, yeah, I was an Erkling, as well. I played an Erkling.
Somehow managed to apparate into a team that could rival the 1970 Brazil World Cup side. Every week, despite this team being all over the show all season, everyone appears stunned that we haven't beaten the opposition 5-0 and instead of barely scraped a draw. This team could, with a few tweaks, though, grow to be amazing. The shoots are there. I agree, Jenny. The shoots are there, particularly with Palmer, Connor and Gusto, but I think their age makes them more susceptible to the barrage of criticism when things go the way of the pair, as is inevitable when trying to integrate a completely new team and then confidence plummets. Jenny, what I would say about that, because I think you make an excellent point there, if we had, say, a spine, or not even a spine, but say 4 to 5 really experienced professionals who had been at the club for 10 years and had seen it all, they would shield these youngsters from that criticism. Instead, you're right, the likes of Palmer, Connor and Gusto are the ones, well, they're not always the ones that are taking the flack, but they're having to stand up, and when they're shit, come out and say, yeah, we were really shit, It can't do them any good. It cannot do them. I really agree with you. It cannot do them any good. They're youngsters. They're kids, man. Anyway, we're locked into a cycle of the players make mistakes. The crowd gets annoyed. The team makes more mistakes. Yeah. The players responded so well at Palace when Three Little Birds was sung and the atmosphere changed. I think we need to get behind them more. I get it. It's difficult. It's bloody expensive to support this team, and investing your second mortgage to sit through whatever the hell that second half was means venting your spleen is very cathartic. But I'm starting to think that some supporters enjoy the toxic negativity. I'll say that again. Enjoy the toxic negativity more than the club. I've noticed that there are lots more posts on social media slating the manager, team, owners when we lose or play badly than when we win or play well. Jenny, X or social media is not a barometer of reality. It is people's psychosis being acted out on a public platform. And that is how it should be viewed. We couldn't even celebrate beating Leeds. Dirty, bloody Leeds. Bastards!
Bastards!
Because we still weren't good enough. And all this, we are worse than last season, is just garbage. This time last year, I remember just trying to work out how many points we needed to avoid relegation, which would have been a challenge for me, Jenny, because I'm mathematically challenged. So I'm glad you remembered the pain I had to go through with that. I nearly lost hope myself today, but when I saw a video of Ben giving his shirt to Boy after the game, that little boy was Teddy. Mark Meehan shared a video of Teddy supporting Chelsea a few weeks ago. It moved me to look up his story about how coming to football and supporting Chelsea is helping him come out of himself and the challenges he faces in life. Teddy doesn't care that Jackson couldn't hit a barn door from 2 paces most of the time, or that Sterling has the leadership qualities of a paper bag. Teddy just loves Chelsea. Maybe it's time we were a bit less toxic and a bit more Teddy. I like that. We should get T-shirts saying, be like Teddy. They would be good. I think I've watched the video. I defy you not to shed a tear watching this video. It's what it's all about. And I think she's right. I think we forget that shit. Patience isn't something we are used to, but we need to suck it up. If we look at Arsenal and the Arteta out campaign, where are those voices now? Yes. Chidge, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing with the fan bites and the FanCast. I'm loving YouTube. Great idea, JK. Chid should have done it ages ago. Ha. Well, Jenny, if you're on our YouTube channel, you can go back in time and you will find that we were doing live TV programs live over 10 years ago. We were the first of the Chelsea podcast to do that. So we've done it. It's just that everybody who was on the show in those days moaned at me and didn't like it. So I stopped doing it.
I liked it.
Apart from JK, of course, who would turn up to the opening of an envelope, as we all know. But I like it too. I like it because you like it. And that's really why we do this show. If you don't like it, we wouldn't do it. Very simple. Keep the blue flag high and up the Chelsea. Jenny Matthews. The lovely Jenny Matthews. Jenny, we need to see
Jenny
you.
Matthews.
Yes,
lovely.
the lovely Jenny Matthews, because she's always writing in. She's always in the chat rooms. Jenny, next time you come down for a game, please let us know. It'd be lovely to have a drink with you and a proper chat. So there you go. All right, next email, please, JK.
Can I just say that I just
Yes.
think it's I don't think supporters enjoy the toxic negativity.
I think some do, but I think they're the ones that have never been to Stamford Bridge in their entire life, or
I think they're the
they're
ones
psychologically, or if they do go, they're psychologically disposed to do it. I.e., commonly known in the trade as miserable bastards.
Bastards.
Some people love it. Some people
Yeah.
love being miserable. Some people love moaning. Some people love complaining. It's in their psychopathology. Some people are positive, half glass full. Some people are negative, half glass half empty. It's life, isn't it, JK?
Yes, but I mean, personally, I just like seeing the ball in the net. I've always been like that. You know, I just like us winning.
Your psychopathology is that you like perfection and you like us to win all the time.
Yeah.
I call that a fantasy in my profession, but there we go.
Can I be a fantasy realist?
I don't know. I'm going to have to ponder that one. I'll tell you what, do something fantastically real and read the next email while I think about it.
Oh, wow, Chidge. Good segue. Blimey.
Yes.
Did you hear that, everybody? Chidge,
I know, I'm
oh,
good.
bloody
I'm
hell.
good. I'm
He's
good.
good.
I'm good.
He's really good. He's good. Well, perhaps not really good. Perhaps that's too much. But he's good, though. Alan Smith. Hi, guys. Podcast is as great as ever. Alan, I'm going to bask in that for a moment. I'm going to repeat it. Hi, guys. Podcast is as great as ever. Oh, was that your stomach rumbling, Chidge?
That was you making a funny noise.
No, it wasn't. I didn't do that.
Oh, maybe it was me then.
Perhaps it was you. Yeah.
Maybe
Anyway.
it was.
Am I the only person who still thinks that the current situation with the Blues is not the sudden out of the blue, no pun intended, disaster that the majority seem to think it is? No, I think Jenny feels the same as you, and that the anti-Clear Lake and Potts chants are completely missing the point. Alan, what is the point? I have been known to scream the project and give me my Chelsea back as loudly as anyone. However, in recent weeks, I've felt it honest to rethink my position in this regard. May I say I like the way you've said in this regard. Makes it sound literary. Anyway, consider recent history. The club faces the unprecedented situation of their owner being forced to surrender ownership for political reasons, setting off a chain of events that make it look for a time as if the club may have to fold altogether. True, Alan. Just as this tragedy is averted, new owners take the helm, the game's administrative bodies begin to flex their financial fair play muscles, meaning that the old days of simply throwing money at the team to paper over gaps is no longer viable. The new owners respond in a way that is both sensible and guaranteed to bear fruit in future. They adopt a policy of putting the club on a firm financial and bold and firm on-pitch footing, buying at bargain prices a number of players that will hit their peak in a season or two, signed on long-term amortized contracts. Okay, I see where we're going with this. They appoint a manager who looks ideal for the job at hand. He loses the dressing room and they're forced to make another appointment after a long, exhaustive and duly diligent process. During this process, they undoubtedly make mistakes, buying too many players, neglecting purchase of an all-important striker, paying too much for players who do not deliver, etc. But surely an individual or group made up of humans can only be judged on how sensible their strategy is, rather than expecting zero mistakes. Yes, okay, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, the club's problems do not end here, however. They then have to deal with an unprecedented run of injuries that take out their strongest players and discover financial irregularities from the previous ownership that, in all honour, they are forced to bring to the attention of the game's governing body. Short of the entire team being hit with bubonic plague and a nuclear warhead landing on Cobham, it's difficult to see how they could have been any less lucky. Yes, completely. The events with the Ukraine war taking place and Roman and everything are, I mean, but you wonder whether, to an extent, some people had it in for us. Anyway, for those chanting for the heads of Bowley and or Poch, I have to ask the obvious question: who would you want instead? Ownership by the Ricketts, perhaps, or someone from the more dubious ranks of the various Arabic consortiums? Not that all Arabic consortiums are shady, but given our bad luck, that's the sort we'd get. Just what manager would you prefer instead of Pochettino? Jose M? No, never, no. Do I really have to waste bandwidth pointing out what a disaster that would be? No, and we would agree with you here on the Fancast. It would be ridiculous. Just what is a busted flush, as you said the other day, Chidge. Just what manager, even if one could pick from the very best, could ensure that a team that have only been together a season and are still barely out of nappies, with half of the team in sick bay besides, could win the EPL and UEFA Championship and regularly touch up Man City and Liverpool and Bayern Munich? Ooh. I doubt even Klopp or Guardiola could have managed it. In fact, look how long that pair took to turn their teams around. I repeat, I think one of the problems with that, though, is that they played better than we were playing at this stage. But never mind. Anyway, I repeat, the current ownership have made mistakes. Personally, I'd have liked an approach less completely, in bold, focused on the future, with some concessions made to keeping the team afloat performance-wise in the interim. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. What we were saying earlier, we need a balance of slightly more experienced players. However, I find it hard to criticise their long-term plans. Had we ended up with dubious owners, or if the club had been forced to fold at the end of the Abramovich era, that would have been a permanent disaster. I would have supported Fulham. As it is, we have many problems, but at least they're fixable, and no doubt will be in the future. Kind regards, Alan S. Yes, it's a good look through it, isn't it? But it once again, it's this business of us being forced to watch really crap performances. That's the problem that I have with all of these arguments is surely there could be a middle way.
Well, I think Alan kind of said that.
Yes, no, he did.
Yeah, to be fair. I mean, the only issue I have with it, I think actually that's an incredibly reasonable and intelligently put argument, Alan.
Beautifully written, Chidge. Yeah. Beautifully written.
Indeed, it was. Well done. I think, but what he says is cogent and reasonable, and it's hard to disagree with that. If I was going to disagree with anything, it would be that what I don't like is the fact, for example, I think you have alluded to this, to be fair, and I think there was a much more sensible, forward-looking strategy on the footballing side. In other words, they could have bought one or two world-class players. They could have integrated a lot more of our supposedly vaunted, academy players and integrated them in. That would have saved them money. They wouldn't have had to spunk so much money. I just cannot get my head around the idiocy of spunking £1 billion on players and getting them on the long contracts. Yes, I see what you say about, yes, in 2 or 3 seasons it might be that we're brilliant, but it's a huge and God almighty risk to do that. And actually, it is the other risk is that there is a risk that we will have infringed the FFP and the PRS issues because of what they've done. So that I don't think was too clever. I don't like their clear and obvious arrogance, thinking they know better than everybody else and what they were doing. And ripping, and they have ripped a lot of stuff out of the club. They have, thrown the baby out with the bathwater. So many people have been got rid of. It wasn't all bad. What I fundamentally agree with you on, Alan, is that the whole game has changed, and we were already falling behind the pack, as is proven by the fact that we haven't won the Premier League in a long time. There are now a lot of other clubs with a lot of money to spend. You cannot just, get your tanks on the lawn and chuck 50 quid notes at it like Roman did. So it has to be built on more of a solid foundation in order to compete. And that inevitably was going to take time, whatever way we did it. But as I said, I don't think buying the number of players, getting rid of all of the players that they did, albeit that we agreed largely because we didn't like many of them, replacing them with all of these young kids who are. I mean, this is the point, Alan. What they have done is an almighty gamble, and whilst I applaud a long-term strategy, none of us can gauge whether it was the right one for 3 or 5 years. And 3 or 5 years, it might prove that it was an utter disaster. And my argument is, well, what do we do then? Okay, it's if, buts, maybes. None of us know. That's the reality. Maybe in 3 to 5 years, we'll be winning the Premier League and I'll be eating a lot of humble pie. And you know what? I will eat our humble pie and I will chomp it down gladly. All I ever want to see is my club being the best it can be and doing well. I am very sceptical about that at the moment. I'm very skeptical about those owners, but I also accept that we can't judge it until we see this out.
Haven't they made rods for their own back
They have, I think,
by buying all of these players on these 8-year contracts? Because
it's now been banned, by the way.
Indeed, of course, it's now down to 5, isn't it? Because it precludes. I presume they'll still be legally binding, though, the 8 years. They can't retrospectively.
Oh yeah. We'll be stuck with them longer if they're shit and we can't sell them.
Yeah, well, it's a question of whether we can sell them or not at cut price. But I'm worried now that if is that their policy, why would they then want to offer any contract to anybody who is more experienced, who will demand a lot more money and for a shorter period of time?
Well, that's the other thing that I've often said. And I mean, I get the economic unsustainability argument and all of that. But I can tell you that the statistics bear this out, that the club that wins the Premier League is the club that pays the highest wages.
Of course. Yeah.
'Twas ever thus. So if we decide to cap it at 150,000 a pop, the only way we're not going to be able to compete with anybody because they'll just offer more money for the best players. So that means the players that they spent £1 billion on have to be brilliant and ultimately be world class in 2 or 3 years, or we're scuppered. The other problem is that because of the FFP issue, they may well have to sell a lot of the academy players because they represent more profitable sales. I think what they should have done, as I said, was to have bought maybe a world-class spine with that money and then infused the rest of the team with players from the academy. If we've got this academy that everybody says is the best in the world for the last 10, 15 years, then bloody use them to go and play on the pitch. And do you know what would have happened? All of us lot who go to the matches and beyond would have been 4 square behind them. 4 square behind them, because we would have said, these are our kids, let's give them the support, and they would have grown in stature because they would have been playing with experienced and good players, and we would have put up with a load of shitty, stinky results in the interim because we could have seen what the plan was. And all we see now is a mad gamble, right? Am I wrong?
Well, I'm even now suspicious of whenever a kid from the academy appears on the sideline and gets on the pitch. I mean, the only one who's been consistently pushed forward has been Gilchrist. All the others, like was it Golding who appeared, and then this recent Finnish boy appeared, and some of the others on the bench. You think, are they there because they possibly want to sell them in the summer? And said yes, they've had experience. They've been in the first team.
We just don't know.
We don't know. We don't know about that. But no, I'm intrigued as to how they could possibly buy Tony, for example, given that they'd have to say to him, I'm sorry, it has to be a 5-year contract and we're only going to pay you 150,000.
Well, we will see.
And it's all on incentives. We'll have to see, whether that changes, whether their view changes.
I don't think it can. No. Because of, the only way they're going to, anybody. I mean, Tony's, well, okay, let's look at Osimhen as an example. He's going to cost 115 million, is it, if we want to buy him?
Yeah.
He'll be another record fee. The only way we can buy him will be to sell 115 million's worth of players. So, the other thing is, and this should also be remembered, by the way, that even under Roman's last few years, it was 1 in, 1 out. They were having to do the same thing. And the other thing about the decline, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, Mark Meehan will be writing a book about it in 10 years' time. But it started the minute that Theresa May declined his visa. That's when the stadium went on the back burner. Remember the announcement? That's when Roman no longer came to games. And I think you can chart the downfall of Chelsea Football Club as an elite club competing in the Premier League. I know we won lots of trophies still. That can't be denied. And I know we won the Champions League. But we stopped being a force. We were not fighting for the title from 2018. And that's kind of when Roman first stepped away or was pushed away by this Tory government. And I think you can trace it back to then. So, what I agree totally with Alan is that one needs to be holistic about this and look at all of it, and understand the nuances of this. The trouble is we're passionate football fans who get fucked off when we see shit footballing teams playing badly.
But should you therefore be critical of Clear Lake if you're accepting Alan's argument?
No, I mean he's critical of them too, and I am critical of them in certain areas. But I do admit and accept that, because what they're trying to do is, and we know that their history, their track record tells you that they got a 3. I mean, I watched an interview with Jose Feliciano the other day, and he was saying it's 3-5-7 years.
Light my fire. Ooh.
Yeah. 3-5-7 years is their kind of planning. So, we're in year 2. If by year 3 it's still horrible, we'll have a view. If it's still shit in 5 years, we'll have a view. But the trouble is it's hard to have a view on the end game until the end game has been reached. My problem is if the end game is fucked, we will never reclaim our elite status as a football club, because we were already behind before they came in some respects, and we will be further behind in a market where the rich are getting richer. I mean, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I would be sitting here saying, it's funny, isn't it? But since they got rid of Roman, the government got rid of Roman, isn't it funny how all of the FFP rules are getting tighter and tighter and tighter? They're trying to shut the door again. That's what they're doing. United, Arsenal, Liverpool, trying to shut the FFP door so nobody else can come in. What do you think they did today? They've just said, sponsorships where there's already an affiliation with the club will be banned. So that's aimed at City, Newcastle, us. That's who it's aimed at. Remember that the reach commercially, the biggest reach commercially for clubs across the globe are still Liverpool, United, and Arsenal. They will get their commercial deals that way. So it's harder for us. And anyway, if we're not successful, it will be even harder. So there's so many things in this. It's incredibly nuanced. There's a lot in it. So I really applaud Alan for trying to take quite a holistic view of it. And I agree with some of his points, and I disagree with others, which is kind of life, really, isn't it?
Very good reply, Chidge. Very good. Well done.
All right. Right. We got an email from John Kirk. Dear Chidge and Duke of Kydd.
Duke of Kydd. Thank you.
How utterly bizarre. We've got another cricket-focused one in a way. How I long for long, sunny, beer-filled Saturdays at the Rose Aegeus Utilita Bowl, watching Hampshire hopefully storm to the county championship this year. You're an Hampshire fan, aren't you, John? I can tell, like me. I currently feel nothing but apathy towards our manager and most of our players. I'm finding it very hard to like many of them. I'm feeling nothing but anger towards Bowley and Egbali and the perpetual Wankstains, Winstanley and Stewart, who have decided that we should sell players being produced by our excellent academy to fund their ego trip of signing, in my opinion, inferior players for huge sums of money. So, we've recently played the Carabao Cup final versus Liverpool, where we snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. In the end, it was the hope that killed us on that day. Story of our season. Can't take our chances. Then we rolled to the FA Cup, where we played the Cockwombles of Yorkshire.
Bastards.
Thank you, bastards. And quite frankly, the performance was shite. Yes. We won, but only because they were equally shite, and Connor spanking home a lovely finish in the last embers. So
Finish.
why couldn't... No, he's no finish. He's from Epsom. He's from Epsom. Why couldn't he have done that versus Liverpool? And finally, yesterday, we played essentially Brentford reserves, if not thirds. My first away this season. It felt pretty fiery where I was. Definitely an extreme feeling of disconnect and discontent amongst the supporters yesterday. The tide, if not fully, is definitely turning against not just Pochettino, but the owners as well. I think when it does turn, it's more a case of when, not if anymore. It could well be irrevocable between fans and easy for me to say, obviously, between fans and owners. We may well go on another little run where we all get a glint that our on-pitch fortunes are changing, but we've had far too many false dawns. I believe Bowley and Egbali need to accept that they've got it wrong and do a full reset on what they've done. However, I don't think their egos will allow this. But we go on in hope. Newcastle next up and a huge mid-table clash in the battle for 10th. On we go. Up the Chelsea. Best John. Yeah, I feel your pain, John. And you see, you and I need to meet for a long beer at the Aegean. I'm going to call it the Rose Bowl, actually, because that's what they first called it. Get some cricket in this summer. John, what you say? Let me know. JK.
David Flotzer. Who is David in the...
He is in the house,
David?
man.
You're in the house.
In the house. He's in YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, good for you, mate. He's lovely. Dearest Chidge and Sir Jonathan. Dearest Chidge, I love that. Sir Jonathan. Because I'm now Sir Jonathan, I'm going to have to do the email in this voice, because that is what Sir Jonathans do. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It's a Tale of Two Cities, isn't it, by Dickens? It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. In short, this season has been an incredibly long, onerous one. And just like dissecting the Tale of Two Cities, yes, I hadn't seen that in high school. I'm ready for it to be over. Last time I emailed, we just played Brentford, having just played the reverse fixture. They were reserves. The reverse fixture, it's time to follow up. That first match was about the confirmation I needed for how the rest of the season was to go. We currently have a bang average team, who lack leadership, set piece specialist, dominant forward, consistent winger performance, and a board who went into this season happy with the squad, according to quotes from Win Stanley. I ended it with this. This year, progress will take time. It will be non-linear and streaky, and without a doubt, extremely painful. Keep in mind, these young men will forever remember how this feels both in and off the pitch, on and off the pitch, surely. We can back them and push them for the best, or moan and complain that they can't hold a candle to our best teams ever. Yes, it's true. Yes, because that's what I do all the time. So I'm very guilty of that, I'm afraid. Oh, well. I think this gets down to the core of where we are as fans of this Chelsea team. We're not good enough. Simply put, the players on the field are not capable of consistently putting their best on the field in every aspect of the game. Maybe they have the technical ability to compete at the highest levels, such as Enzo, but does he have the mental fortitude when it matters most? Does he move to control games when we are clearly losing the midfield? No, yeah, very good.
Can he keep his head when all around him are losing theirs?
Yeah, he doesn't. I agree completely. When you've got somebody you've paid 105 million for, he should be absolutely bossing it, shouldn't he? You should be going, wow. You should be going, what a player.
Well, you would have thought so, but I do have a sneaking suspicion that the money is a slight irrelevance to this. I think 10 years ago, if we'd have spent a huge record-breaking fee on a player, they would be world class. They would have been proven, and they would be mid-20s, and we'd be going, my God, we've mugged everybody off here.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, they're spending that kind of money. They're spending that kind of money on players who are starting their careers.
Yeah. Except he did win a World Cup winners' medal, but somebody said, we had Messi in front of him. But
Nobby Stiles won a World Cup medal. You know, the World Cup is a team game.
He was good. Filthy
they had Messi in the side.
I know. No, I just said that. I said they had that. I know.
And they had Martinez in goal. He's a great goalkeeper.
He is a great goalkeeper. Yeah.
And he was good. Let's not beat around the bush. He was good. But, you know, is he world class? Not sure about that.
Well, we hope he'll get there. I also think he gets knackered, Enzo. I feel that's one of the problems. Is there's an enormous amount on him. He's trying to be box to box, and he just.
Well, I'll ask you a question. Talking about Premier League, proven Premier League midfielders, Declan Rice or Enzo?
Yeah, Rice. Well, Rice has been playing in the Premier League longer, isn't he? So you'd give him a.
And Declan Rice plays. England didn't win the World Cup, but they're top 5 teams in the world.
Yeah,
national teams. So I mean, you know, that's the difference.
Except they couldn't have got him, could they? Because he wanted to go and play European football. That was one of the reasons he wanted to get out of West Ham.
All of that, I agree. But I'm just saying, you can either buy proven talent or not.
Yeah. It'd have been interesting if Mason Mount had stayed, whether he would have been attracted by that as well. Anyway, still a work in progress. Noni was a great example of one game performing superbly well. Yes, he was against Villa. Fantastic. Then the next giving the ball away with his back to goal leads directly to a goal. Yeah, absolutely. It's that naivety they've got when they will give the ball away in an area which immediately allows the ball to go up the other end and a shot to be had, and frequently a goal. And that is just so immature, isn't it, really? It's just so naive. Casado, Colwill, Jackson, whoever you like, is culpable for not being switched on to all four facets of the game: physical, tactical, technical, psychosocial. We cannot afford this to compete for Europe. Thus, we do not deserve it. So where is our anger to be placed? Is it Pochettino for not making the best of his players? Questionable substitutions? Rigidity to philosophy over forming the team to their strengths? I can't see what our strengths are at the moment. Or shall we look higher up to those who bought 35 and sold 34 players last 2 years? Who brought in Potter after Tuchel, then Lampard, now Poch, then who? Pochettino is by no means blameless. Substitutions are relatively predictable in both players and timing. Tactics are very standard now. Doesn't seem to be trying to foster a relationship with the fans. No, I agree with that. You think he would come out and clap us, wouldn't you, when we're away? Or even when we're at home. He wanders onto the pitch when we're at home, but he seems to just congratulate everybody around him. Anyway, which I think is complicated, his relationship with the fans. He has to earn it, but he's also had people on him for every mistake because of his Spurs history. Well, every manager who won a trophy with us went there and couldn't. Maybe it's bigger than a manager. Just maybe they are Spurs and shit. Problems defending and attacking set pieces, but that's long-standing as well. I think he has a massive player quality gap. His system is simple to understand, but when you have to teach nearly 70% of the squad how to play the game still, it's going to be a challenge. Remember, it's 34 new players in 2 years. Very good point. There's nothing for Poch to build off in terms of player standards for the club. Everyone nearly is new. 4 true veterans of the Premier League in Sterling, Silva, James and Chilwell, and they're half injured or incapable of a consistent performance. If I had to give a percentage, Poch is 30% of our problem. Player quality is a massive drop from even last year. It's hard to play in Poch's fluid attacking system with that. If you're upset at Poch for not having patterns, I can understand after watching Conte, Sarri and Tuchel. Poch attacks in more direct and flowing play than set movements. So if you're upset at Poch for not doing that, it's kind of pointless, like getting mad at a dog for not being a cat. I do that. I do that.
I love that.
I do that. I do it the other way around. I get annoyed with the cat for not being a dog. That frustration should go to the ones who hired Poch, because this is completely expected if you've done your homework on him. Yeah, more direct and flowing play. I haven't seen him.
I said earlier, didn't I? I said he hasn't got the players to play the way that
he wants
likes to play.
Because I'm just about to say I haven't seen him play the way he played at Spurs.
No,
because he hasn't. The Dele Alli player isn't there.
The Harry Kane player isn't there.
And he isn't there either. Absolutely.
Song Young-min player isn't there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the Eric Dyer player isn't there.
Yeah. You wonder how Bayern aren't doing very well when they signed Dyer this year, didn't they?
Dyer by name, Dyer by name.
Ownership begins at the top. Our controlling interest, Clearlake, Egbali, Bowley. Of course, I love Rome and everything he's done for the club. By no means a perfectly run club in terms of sustainability. It didn't at all, did it? No one will ever risk what he did financially to support this club. But especially when he first came in, he brought in high-quality players and got high-quality results. Yes, this cannot be said about our new consortium. We purchased a hope of the future, sometimes feeling as though we're trying to catch the sunset by riding east. Oh, good. We've got 2 very good metaphors there.
Eloquent.
Eloquent. Mad as a dog and not being a cat, and catching the sunset by riding east. Oh. It could be incredible in 5 years, but right now that's completely irrelevant. We live in the now, as we should as fans. Our job is not to blindly cover our eyes and hope it would work out in the future. We want to be competitive, even more so as being spoilt with the last 20 years, and we have every right for this. Yes, I agree. So I look at this as a shareholder of this new Chelsea. As a shareholder, we have a right to know what is being done with our money, tickets, merchandise, CPO, etc. What is the return? I was listening to someone a while back, and the just was, you see this, so and the just was the gist was, you see this so often of, like, particularly investing, but this happens in a lot of areas in life where people are like, I'm in it for the long term, and that's great. What's that mean? Long term is a collection of short terms. You don't get to ignore the short term volatilities, recessions, and other marks of struggle. This comes with the territory. It's a cop-out to say long term. When you run a business, you might have a legitimate plan which has a history of success, but you can't disregard the 12 to 36 months of struggle others go through. You might be able to handle the long-term pain, but are your clients, your family, your workers, your management, are they prepared to handle this? I've heard more about this at swanky financial summits than I have on the Chelsea website. Quite frankly, it's disrespectful, shows just how little they value the fans of this club. I do agree. They really need to communicate with us more, don't they? Anyway, finally, what may be a final note for him, Conor Gallagher. I fear I would get emotional watching him play if I were able to get to the bridge this season. This young man is an absolute gift to any manager to work with, and seems like such a genuine athlete. He's one you rarely ask more of, because he'll give you his beating heart on the pitch for his team. Pochettino deserves so much credit for fostering him into a disciplined, relentless warrior on the pitch for us. Conor reminds me a lot of Ramirez, has that moment of world-class quality, not always the best technical player, but you never doubted his commitment to the team. Invaluable to a team competing for the best in the league. I don't get how Chelsea don't see his value. Decent-looking lad, gentleman, wonderful club pair, but I guess we must make room for Lavia, Leslie, Santos, Casadei. You know, like 150 million spent on players who may be good enough to play for us in the future, which means we have to sell him now. Make it make sense. Whomever you put the blame on, I believe our most important job is to back the players during the game. Like I said earlier, this memory of this year with the fans will forever live with these young men. After the game, rant and rave, picket Clearlake, make banners against the owners, but we need to back these boys in games. It shows when we aren't. Thank you for everything you've done to bring us all together. I came here first in Mourinho 2.0 when we were struggling, and this podcast kept things in perspective. Hopefully this can help as well. David L. from Discord. Fantastic mail. Lovely. Absolutely lovely.
I'm almost speechless, and I very rarely am. It's David, fantastic. With your permission, I'd like to put that on the website, because I think it deserves wider viewing. I did that for CFC Rally, if you remember. Although I need to link out to that because it's very good. But anyway, enough said. Brilliant. Sorry, Jonathan, I cut across you then.
No, not at all. I was just going to say this is whoever put the blame on. I believe our most important job is to back the players during the game. And it's very difficult, though, isn't it, David? And both.
Well, they're the ones that are visible for us in the ground.
Absolutely. And if you feel that somebody isn't making an effort, I mean, it's like Sterling as an example. When you just see him wandering about, it's very difficult not to be critical, I'm afraid.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, I on the whole get behind the players and the team. It's kind of why we're there. I get all of that. I do have these moments when I just lose my shit uncontrollably.
Yeah.
But usually I reserve it. My wrath is reserved for those that should know better. And Sterling should know better. And he doesn't.
I think we're all consistent that way, Chidge. I think we're the same. I don't
dig out the youngsters.
You despair of poor old Desazi keeps giving the ball away, but his joy with making very decent blocks and tackles and scoring goals is palpable, so that you want him to do well. You want them all to do well. It's when somebody as experienced as Sterling, who makes more money than any of them in the club, just disappears or just doesn't make an effort, or lets the ball bounce off his knee and then doesn't go after it, or doesn't jump for the ball for a header. It's then that I feel inclined to really lose it, in the same way as you, actually.
Yeah, no, fair enough. David, brilliant. Keep in touch. I'd love to stick that up on the website. Right, guess who this is from, JK? It's from George Spencer.
Oh, come on, you citizens!
You citizens!
Come on, you citizens!
Right. Dear Chidgey and JK, well, we saw it coming, didn't we? The longer extra time went on, the more likely that it would happen. And lo and behold, it did, with Virgil van Dickhead in the 118th minute sparking a raft of mawkish, nauseating platitudes past the sick bag. If only Conor Gallagher had found the net just before the final whistle, then again, given what happened up at Forest, it would have probably been disallowed because Klopp's leaving. So, to dirty Leeds. Bastards. And the portents looked grim when they went ahead early doors, stepped forward the much maligned Jackson and Mudryk, who put us ahead only to be pegged back. Who else but Connor to send us through at the death, and despite the ref adding excessive time, we held firm. Fuckety bye, Leeds.
Bastards.
Then it was Brentford, and it looked like we were about to throw it away after a promising start. Thank God for Dizazi, whose late goal rescued a point. Someone raised the point that we were much better in the first half than the second. Perhaps JT should do our team talks. Back in Winchester, it was up to London to take on Harrow Borough. After a dominant first half in which Ollie Barmer gave Winchester a 1-0 lead, he doubled the advantage a minute into the second half. Harrow got back into it 8 minutes later, but City held firm and could have had more. This, however, was followed by the weather being a dog in the manger, raining off our matches at home to Merthyr and away to Parkway, whose pitch is so dire they are in real danger of not fulfilling their fixtures. Blimey. Until next time, up the Chelsea. George Spencer.
George, good old George. The trouble is that real football was played when pitches were so dire they're in danger of not fulfilling their fixtures, because that was when you knew you'd get a result against somebody if your pitch was really sodden. You'd stop them from playing. Anybody with skill, and the ball would stick, you'd think, oh, we've got a chance here. But I'm not advocating that we go back to those dreadful days, but I used to enjoy coming up looking as if I'd been in a mud bath, which I had, of course. Anyway, this is from Don. Is it Tabea?
I think it is.
Good evening, Chidge and the Kid. Hey, Don, I like being called the Kid. Hey, that's good. Thanks for keeping us all entertained in these troubled times. It can't be easy having to do autopsies week in, week out and keep up the enthusiasm. Well expressed, yes. I'm concerned that JK is almost always angry these days when he gets on the topic of the football being played. It's not good for his health. I agree. I've been a bit poorly. I think it may be time to do a reset of expectations and a reboot of footballing operations, if you'll indulge me for a few minutes. Yes, Don, I think we shall. The reset. Chelsea are always spoken of on the show as an elite team. Yes, with the perspective being
an elite club.
Elite club, not the team. Absolutely, because you corrected me earlier. Exactly. With the perspective being that things have gone awry. The evidence might better support the idea, though, that Chelsea are currently a mid-table side.
Agreed.
Albeit one with a lot of money and a great recent history. Yes.
Agreed.
2 seasons around 10th to 12th position tell the tale.
Agreed.
The table doesn't lie. You can get through to a cup final with half a dozen games and a lucky draw with only 1 or 2 what could be called good performances. The 38-game year-long grind is what tells the true story, though. If you think about it for a moment, everything about this club that made it such a huge success before has gone. Every bit of experience and nous was stripped out, from arena down to the groundsman, literally, and most importantly, on the pitch. Blue Co removed everything that made the club what it was and thought splashing large amounts of cash around would replace all that. It didn't, and it never could have. We're not the same club. We're a different club with the same name. We want it to be elite, though, don't we, Don? That's the thing. The reset of expectations are to accept that we're not an elite club now. We're a mid-table club that wants to be elite again. When you look at City, Arsenal and Liverpool, you can see clearly we are miles or years behind, not only in results, but in quality, consistency and style. We have our moments, but our new level is Wolves, Fulham, Brighton, West Ham. Excuse me, I'm going to be sick. Oh. 3 of these are currently above us, and we're no better than 50-50 going into a game with any of these teams. I agree with you completely. The table doesn't lie. We're 2 years at mid-table, so that's where we are. A mid-table club with a lot of money, or more accurately, a mid-table club that spent a lot of money and remained mid-table. Where JK is angry that we're not what we were, I'm resigned to what we now are and the fairly long road back to the top again. Everyone has money now. There are many more good teams. There are many better managers than ours and better run clubs. We need to accept it or develop ulcers. God, I'm going to sneeze. I'm so sorry. It was a bit where I was just thinking, am I developing an ulcer? I was just thinking about it. Need to accept it. This is why I'm wearing my coat and my hat. Now the reboot part. It was interesting to read about the Glazers keeping 75% of Man United, but handing over control of the football to Ratcliffe's team. It's clear that Blueco are here for a long time, but I wonder if something similar would be possible at Chelsea. Not a shareholder, but at least
Bless you. Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, I know. This is quite normal. But an elite director of football who is allowed to run all things football related while Blueco get on with acquiring other clubs, building a stadium and marketing, etc. I'm not up on who the best DOFs are. There's Edwards, of course. Apparently Liverpool want him back, but he wouldn't do it without full control, which is not acceptable to them. Personally speaking, it would be very acceptable to me at Chelsea. He brought in Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, Andrew Robertson, Georginio Wijnaldum, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, and Diogo Jota from 2016 onwards. And you're looking at the players who made Liverpool multiple competition winners there. Of course, the first job will be to find that manager that will work absolutely in tandem with the DOF. I don't think Blueco would be completely opposed to a reset. They spent vastly more money more quickly than at any time in the history of the Prem to be mid-table 2 seasons running. Although we've made some progress in a roller coaster kind of way, it still needs someone to grab this whole setup by the throat and reboot it. Not necessarily spending too much money in net terms either. I'm beginning to lose hope in Poch. I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I just think this club and team need someone with a stronger character and vision, as well as a track record. I know this email will make some people angry, but really it's just thinking aloud. Think of it as a conversation starter. I don't claim to have any answers, just a bunch of questions and ideas. I'd like to know what you all think. Cheers, keep the blue flag flying high. I don't see how anybody could be angry at your mail, Don. I can't see, because there's some very good points you're making there, which is that, they might have to have a rethink, and they may think in terms of we need to get better people involved. I'm just slightly worried that they seem to be thinking in a very mid-table way, don't they? The very fact we've been connected with De Zerbi, whether that's true or not, and the very fact that we apparently have just taken the Brighton, one of the other Brighton talent scouts, Paul Jewell's son, and he's on gardening leave. So they seem to see Brighton as a kind of yardstick, whereas Brighton haven't won anything and are not doing terribly well this season. So you wonder where that view of the division has come from. Where have they been badly advised? So I'm not convinced that they would come up with your idea at all, or they'd be interested in embracing it, because they appear to be.
They're arrogant.
Yeah, and
they don't know what they're doing.
No. So that's what you're saying is makes great sense, but once again, it's not. I don't think it's in their remit to think that way.
If they wanted to follow a blueprint, instead of following Brighton or Brentford, which you could argue is fairly similar as well,
Yeah.
Why on earth didn't they follow Liverpool or Man City? That's the
Yeah.
blueprint they should be following.
Yeah.
Just beggars belief, man. Anyway, I think we've. I mean, JK's about to sneeze himself to death. I'm about to fall into the sleep of the dead. So I think it's conveniently that is the last email of the show. But by God, JK, what a load of crackers tonight!
Fantastic.
Good God! I'll say it again.
Good God, yeah, VAR.
What a load
Well,
of
it
crackers.
is the good of VAR. Absolutely nothing.
It's been really, really, really good. I mean, this is genuinely a show we couldn't do without your help. So we are indebted to you for taking the time and the effort to send us emails, because you actually. I've got a quickie from Caroline Waters. You can't follow City's blueprint because they're owned by a country. Very true, but Liverpool aren't. They're owned by very similar people to Clearlake, Caroline. So why don't they follow Liverpool's blueprint, which is kind of what Don was saying. Anyway, we digress. That is, I'm afraid, all we've got time for tonight. JK, Tony Glover, and I will be back on Friday to preview the match against Newcastle United. The Horse Punchers. Which, of course, we're having to wait until Monday night for, which ruins my week next week. Thanks, Premier League. So there we go. If you do want an email read out on our In Off the Post shows, you know what to do. Send it to us at chelseafancast@gmail.com. And you can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast, me at Stamford Chidge, and Jonathan Kydd. Great fun tonight. Albin, did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Are you still just about alive?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna fall off my chair in a minute, but I'll be okay.
Well done. Well, look, presuming you will be, I will see you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Friday evening. I'm already looking forward to that. So there we go. Well done, lovely to see you as always. Right, you lot who've watched us on YouTube or listened to us on Mixlr, thank you so much for listening. The podcast will be up soon tomorrow. See you soon. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, keep it Chelsea.
Chelsea!